I tentatively moved my limbs and found that the armor wasn't fully automated. It required me to exert force to move, but when I did, I could clearly feel my strength being amplified, and my movements were not restricted in the slightest. Afterward, I opened the door, stepped out of the RV, quickly collected the supply crate by the roadside, and returned to the vehicle. After taking off the exoskeleton armor, I said to the air, "Xiaoxi, continue forward." I returned to the driver's seat, keeping an eye on the road ahead while opening my personal panel to monitor the communication channel, thinking to myself, closing the doors and using the air conditioning for ventilation is fine for now, but what unknown dangers will I encounter by the afternoon and evening? Throughout the morning, apart from collecting 4 supply crates along the way, no other abnormalities occurred. Even for lunch, the others simply made do inside the domain space, and I immediately returned to the driver's seat to continue moving forward. However, just past 12 o'clock, I sensed something was wrong. I noticed some tiny spots appearing on the windows. As the vehicle continued to move, these spots became more numerous and denser. What made me even more vigilant was that these spots seemed to be living things. After attaching themselves to the windows, they were slowly spreading and moving across the body of the vehicle. Just then, Xiaoxi's notification sounded. "Commander, biological signals detected." Immediately after, an information panel appeared on the center console screen. Corrosion fungus carpet, gray-yellow fine dust. Upon contact with metal, it secretes a transparent mucus that hardens, forming a rust-colored, rough shell. The surface has slowly pulsating moss-like fuzz, looking like natural metal corrosion from a distance. Attack method: accelerates metal oxidation, strips away anti-rust layers to make the metal brittle and prone to breaking, while simultaneously infiltrating and expanding into gaps. Characteristics: iron-seeking, can cluster to form a hard creep armor. It hardens and enters dormancy in low-temperature environments at night, and regains corrosive activity when the temperature rises during the day. Weaknesses: fears strong alkaline substances. High-frequency vibrations prevent the creep from attaching. Extremely dry environments cause it to dehydrate and die. After reading the panel information, I immediately asked Xiaoxi, "Xiaoxi, does this thing affect us?" "Commander, this organism cannot attach to the ancient constructor, Imperial Divine Armor, but it will briefly affect the visibility through the windows." Xiaoxi's voice sounded steady. Hearing Xiaoxi's reply, I breathed a sigh of relief and immediately opened the communication channel. It was already in an uproar, filled with wails and pleas for help regarding the corrosion fungus carpet. Strange spots have appeared on my windows, and they seem to be alive. Has anyone else encountered this? Damn it, they won't let us rest for a second. What is this ghost thing? How are we supposed to move forward? The windows are almost completely covered. I told you all to find an abandoned building to stay in today and not to set off. You guys really don't value your lives. Has anyone gone out? What exactly are these things? What do we do? If we keep stopping like this, there are no supply crates. How are we supposed to survive? Does no one know how to deal with this? Where is the top player on the leaderboard? Friendly reminder, don't move forward. As long as you stop, these things won't appear. I looked at the screen full of wailing and requests for help, then opened the team channel and sent the solution for the corrosion fungus carpet. I knew clearly that in today's situation, unless one stopped or possessed red quality armor like mine, there was no way to continue moving forward. Afterward, I looked out the window and muttered to myself, basically everyone has stopped in place today. This survival game has always been high risk, high reward. Could it be that we'll encounter special circumstances this afternoon? The RV continued to move slowly forward. No one knew that I was harboring a thought. I hope you all can survive. The supplies in the trading channel are far too scarce now. The RV continued to move slowly forward, my gaze locked on the anomalies outside the window. By now, the glass outside had been completely wrapped by those eerie organisms, blocking the view so thoroughly that I could barely see anything outside. If it weren't for Xiaoxi and the omnidimensional perception array, I would probably be just like everyone else, huddled in some abandoned building, not even daring to move. I sighed softly, looking at the obscured windows. After the sigh, I turned my gaze to the E-3 exoskeleton armor in the cabin. After a moment of hesitation, I stood up and walked into the domain space. Within 30 seconds, I walked back out, put the armor into my personal space, and sat back in the driver's seat, my expression now resolute. I took a deep breath, my gaze falling on the talent interface. Ding! Do you wish to select the E03 exoskeleton armor as the main sacrifice, with no secondary sacrifice? Ding! Talent used successfully. Promoted to Tier 3. Obtained. E03 Titan's Wrath, Mechanical Divinity, Eternal Grade. Seeing the equipment obtained after the talent triggered a 3-tier promotion, I was stunned for a moment. My first reaction was that this was definitely something beyond red quality. When my gaze swept over the words Eternal Grade, a massive wave surged in my heart. Could this be the level beyond red quality? I forcibly suppressed the excitement in my heart and hurriedly checked the detailed attributes of the equipment. E03 Titan's Wrath, Mechanical Divinity, Eternal Grade, Equipment Introduction. The body is forged from star meteorite heavy crystal smelted in a stellar core, within consciousness crystal condensed from the consciousness fragments of 3 trillion citizens as its soul. The surface of the armor flows with Titan runes, capable of tampering with physical laws. It has a built-in NTD psychoframe system. When activated, the frame expands and deforms, and the crimson phosphorescent psychoframe synchronizes completely with the pilot's consciousness, achieving absolute control where thought is command. Equipment effects. Consciousness symbiotic control. The pilot's consciousness is completely fused with the mecha, enabling sublight speed teleportation, dimensional folding evasion, energy field interference, and enhanced combat reaction speed. Adaptive energy cycle. Automatically absorbs cosmic radiation, stellar winds, and enemy attack energy, converting them into driving power without the need for external supplies. Predictive law defense. Titan runes monitors surrounding space-time fluctuations in real time, automatically deploying a dimensional barrier before enemy attacks are launched. It can immunize against all physical, energy, and mental attacks below eternal grade and convert 30% of the attack energy into its own energy. Divinity form unlock. When the pilot understands the true meaning of symbiosis between machine and consciousness, they can activate the final arbiter form. The mecha armor reorganizes into a divine frame, gaining absolute combat intuition and a law-rewriting domain. Main weapon, Void Ripper effect. The blade solidifies dimensional rift energy. When swung, it can cut through spatial structures, causing the target to fall into a space-time fault. The damage to the hit area appears with a 0.5-second delay and cannot be repaired by any means. It can cause permanent structural disintegration to mechanical units. Ignores all defenses below eternal grade. Secondary weapon, Consciousness Annihilation Cannon effect. Extracts the pilot's consciousness fragments as ammunition, firing a penetrating energy beam that directly destroys the target's consciousness core. Mechanical units' systems crash permanently, and biological units fall into a state of unconscious disintegration. Ignores all physical defenses below eternal grade. Ultimate weapon, Final Judgment, Titan's Wrath effect. Released after activating the final arbiter form. Deploys a divine domain with a radius of 10 kilometers, forcibly rewriting the physical laws of all targets within the domain to Ethero War Standard. Enemy weapon systems self-destruct due to law conflicts, and biological units' genetic structures are judged as non-ordered life and automatically decompose. During the domain's duration, the pilot gains absolute combat intuition. Note: this is the ultimate manifestation of the Ethera civilization's mechanical divinity, the only divine carrier among the 12 sacred remains that bears the will of war. It is not a cold mecha, but a demigod avatar that shares a symbiotic consciousness with the pilot. Only a civilization that understands that machines are not tools, but extensions of consciousness, can awaken its deeply hidden final arbiter form. Otherwise, it is merely a silent tombstone sealing the memories of the apocalypse, drifting eternally in the star abyss, waiting for the next guardian capable of bearing mechanical divinity. All that is touched becomes divine. All that is fought becomes the final chapter. After reading all the information, Only one thought remained in my mind. Is this the equipment that transcends red quality? I sat in the driver's seat for a long time, the shock in my heart unable to subside. Looking at the detailed introduction of the mecha before me, I didn't know what words to use to describe my current mood. After a while, I managed to calm my excitement, stood up, and walked to the center of the cabin, preparing to take this mecha out of my personal space to see what this eternal-grade mecha actually looked like. Ding! Insufficient space, cannot be retrieved. The prompt that suddenly popped up on the system interface left me stunned. I subconsciously looked at the scene outside the window covered by the corrosion fungus carpet, sighed helplessly, and sat back in the driver's seat. The RV continued to move slowly forward, and I had only one thought. I must find enough materials and blueprints next. Time reached 13:45, and Xiao Shi's notification sounded in the cabin. Commander, a supply crate signal detected 1,000 meters ahead. We are approaching the target area. Prepare to stop. I immediately looked at the center console screen, which clearly showed that the supply crate was located about 100 meters from the roadside. As the RV came to a slow, steady stop, I didn't get out immediately. Instead, I sat in the driver's seat, my eyes fixed on the corrosion fungus carpet outside the window, closely observing its movements. Xiao Shi, what is the current situation with the corrosion fungus carpet outside? I asked in a low, cautious voice. Commander, the corrosion fungus carpet attached to the windows is gradually dissipating, and no new corrosion fungus carpet has been detected approaching the vehicle. Hearing this, I let out a sigh of relief. If the outside of the vehicle were still densely covered in the corrosion fungus carpet, I wouldn't have dared to open the door. Heaven knows if this stuff is harmful to the human body. But in this situation, I could at least open the door, put on my mecha, and then head into the fog to retrieve the supply crate. Having made up my mind, I pushed the door open and stepped out. The moment I exited, I kept a close eye on the corrosion fungus carpet on the RV's glass. I saw those eerie organisms slowly moving toward the vehicle's body, but as soon as they touched the metal, they detached themselves and fell to the ground. Seeing this, I felt completely at ease and immediately raised my hand to retrieve the Titan's Fury from my personal space. The moment the mecha appeared, a powerful sense of oppression washed over me. I couldn't help but pause and stare. It stood nearly 3 meters tall, a towering, heavy humanoid structure with striking proportions. Its broad, thick shoulder armor and sturdy torso made it look like a mobile steel fortress, steady and powerful. The mecha's primary color scheme was a deep, dark purple and iron gray, its surface covered in a cold, hard metallic texture. Most striking were the bright purple energy veins running across its entire body. They looked like flowing blood vessels embedded in the gaps and joints of the armor, emitting a faint glow. The armor surface was also etched with intricate mechanical textures and mysterious symbols, every detail exuding an extraordinary quality, and it was surrounded by a suffocating sense of majesty. I stared at the mecha before me, filled with confusion. From the outside, there was absolutely no sign of any weaponry. Where were its weapons? And how was I supposed to enter this thing? Just then, 2 pale purple beams of light shot from the mecha's eyes, quickly scanning my entire body. The next second, an invisible force gently pulled me, and my body flew toward the mecha involuntarily. I felt weightless, as if passing through an invisible barrier, and was pulled straight into the interior of the mecha. In an instant, my perspective changed drastically. The tall RV now looked level with me. I instinctively looked down and realized I had merged with the mecha. Every inch of its armor and every joint felt like a part of my own body. I tentatively moved my limbs, and the mecha's movements were perfectly synchronized with my thoughts, as flexible as if they were my own, without the slightest stiffness. Is it really this magical? I couldn't help but mutter, my eyes full of wonder. At that moment, I had completely forgotten about retrieving the supply crate in the fog. Instead, like a child who had discovered a new toy, I stayed in place, manipulating the mecha and exploring its functions. However, after fumbling around for a while, I realized that with my current abilities, I couldn't unleash the mecha's full performance. I couldn't even summon its hidden weapons. For now, this powerful eternal-grade mecha seemed to serve only as basic defense and a means of transport for me. After studying it for about half an hour, I gave up on further exploration and, controlling the mecha, slowly stepped into the fog by the roadside. The moment I stepped off the road, I was surprised to find that the mecha had the function of amplifying my senses. I could clearly perceive that the fog around the mecha was filled with dense patches of corrosion fungus carpet. Strangely, these corrosion fungus carpets seemed completely unaware of the mecha's presence. Even when I steered the mecha straight into them, they didn't react at all. I didn't overthink it and walked straight into the depths of the fog. A moment later, I retrieved the supply crate and turned back toward the RV. Standing at the RV door, I had a thought, and the nearly 3-meter-tall Titan's Fury mecha vanished into a streak of pale purple light. Looking at the new metal ring on my right wrist, I couldn't help but exclaim, "It's truly unbelievable. If I could fully unlock all its functions, how powerful would it be?" After a moment of reflection, I boarded the RV and ordered, "Shao Shi, continue forward." "Understood, Commander." As the RV started, the windows, which had just cleared, were soon covered by the corrosion fungus carpet again, and my vision blurred once more. Fortunately, the rest of the journey went smoothly. Aside from the supply crates that refreshed every so often and the occasional abandoned building, there were no other incidents. Seeing that there were no abnormalities along the way, I relaxed my tense nerves and opened the team channel to send a safety message to Lin Shi and the others. After sending it, I leaned back in the driver's seat and sighed to myself. In this perilous survival world, while most people were trapped in one place, I could move through the fog with ease. This massive gap in strength made me even more determined to keep improving myself. After resting for a while, I felt a bit puzzled. Based on past experience, Lin Shi and the others would usually come out of the domain space quickly once they knew it was safe outside. But today, there was no movement after I sent the message. At this moment, inside the domain space, the four of them were busy working around the newly cultivated fields. Lin Yu stopped what she was doing, her tone spoiled and urgent. Big sister, there's no danger outside. Brother Wu Di must be bored alone in the RV. Can I go out and keep him company?" Lin Shi stopped her work, turned to look at Lin Yu, her tone serious yet hiding a hint of tenderness. "If you want to help your brother Wu Di, then tend to your crops properly and work hard." Su Wanwan, standing nearby, also stopped her work and looked at Lin Yu gently. "Xiao Yu, don't be in such a hurry. The vegetables here mature every 3 days. We can't waste such a good opportunity. Let's farm well, and when the vegetables are ready, we can trade them for materials. That is how we are truly helping him." Hearing Lin Shi and Su Wanwan's words, the urgency on Lin Yu's face gradually faded. She slumped her shoulders, looking a bit aggrieved, but replied obediently, "Oh, all right, I understand, Sister Wanwan." Su Kursin, who had also wanted to say she wanted to go out and take a look, swallowed her words after hearing what Lin Shi and Su Wanwan said. When the time reached 1700 hours, Lin Shi finally stopped her work, brushed the dirt off her hands, and said, "Let's go. Let's head out and prepare dinner." As soon as she finished speaking, the distracted Lin Yu's eyes lit up, and she was the first to rush toward the exit of the domain space. Su Kursin remained calm on the surface, but she also quickened her pace, following closely behind with undisguised anticipation in her eyes. Su Wanwan and Lin Shi exchanged a smile, shook their heads helplessly, and then walked out of the domain space together. Upon exiting, they found Lin Yu and Su Kursin already gathered around the driver's seat, talking to me. Lin Shi and Su Wanwan smiled at each other and headed to the kitchen to prepare dinner. At 1759, after everyone had finished dinner and cleaned up, they sat around the coffee table, quietly waiting for Su Wanwan's talent treasure chest to refresh. The talent treasure chest refreshed on schedule. Su Wanwan immediately opened it and displayed the blueprint she had obtained to everyone. 7.62mm bullet blueprint. Permanently unlocks the 7.62mm bullet design upon use. Crafting requirements: 1 metal block, 1 gunpowder, yields 10 rounds. Looking at the blueprint stats, I frowned and fell into deep thought. Just then, Lin Shi spoke up. "Brother Wu Di, these permanent unlock blueprints are appearing more and more frequently. I feel like something isn't right." Lin Shi was meticulous and had sensed this change, harboring some doubts. I nodded, understanding. Lin Shi's concerns aligned perfectly with my own thoughts. Su Wanwan looked at our expressions, hesitated for a moment, and asked softly, Brother Wu Di, could it be that in the future, we'll have to craft these bullets and everything else we need ourselves? Su Kursin leaned back on the sofa, arms crossed, and chimed in with a nonchalant tone. Why worry about that? We don't even use them. I think the boss looks much cooler with a blade than a gun. Su Kursin's words didn't break my train of thought. I pondered. Previously there were seed and planter blueprints, and now there were more and more permanent blueprints. Perhaps in the future, all supplies would indeed need to be crafted by ourselves. After thinking for a while, I shook my head, gave up on the speculation, and looked up at them. Don't overthink it. No matter what we face, we will. Boss, don't move. You look just like a CEO from a drama right now. Before I could finish, Su Kursin interrupted me, her tone playful. You know, the kind of CEO who can handle any difficulty with ease and protect everyone. You've got so much style. I ignored Su Kursin's teasing and took 5 supply crates out of my personal space, placing them on the coffee table. 2 gold crates and 3 silver crates were quite eye-catching. Lin Yu's eyes lit up when she saw the crates, her tone full of surprise and admiration. Wow, Brother Wu Di, did we harvest so much today? Su Kursin leaned in as well, a flash of surprise in her eyes. Boss, did you raid a supply crate nest today? So many high-level supply crates. That's just ridiculous. I didn't speak, simply turning my gaze toward Lin Shi. Lin Shi nodded, then turned to Lin Yu and said softly, Xiao Yu, give me the talent amplification. Lin Yu nodded while saying with a serious face, Sister, do you want to go wash your hands before you open them? Lin Shi glared at Lin Yu, took a deep breath, and reached out to open the 2 gold supply crates, displaying the haul to everyone. 100 metal blocks, 300 fuel, 30 gunpowder. 225L oak barrel-aged dry red wine ×1, 6L aged pure grain baijiu ×10, 5 quantum primordial matter, panoramic vision blueprint. Purple quality installs 6 high-definition cameras around the vehicle body, generating a 360 degrees seamless panoramic image in real time through the onboard system. Supports low-light and night vision imaging and dynamic distortion correction. Energy consumption plus 5%. Installation requirement, level 4 or higher vehicle. Crafting requirements, 2 metal blocks, 1 glass, 5 plastic, 10 electronic components, 5 quantum primordial matter. Seeing this, Su Kursin was the first to speak, her tone teasing. Cici, were you silently praying for more alcohol just now? Otherwise, how could you have opened so much at once? Lin Yu also looked at Lin Shi with curiosity, blinking her eyes, and asked suspiciously, Sister, how come I didn't know you could drink? You never touched alcohol when we were at home. Lin Shi looked helpless. Ignoring Su Kursin and Lin Yu, she reached out and opened a silver supply crate, showing the contents to everyone. 30 metal blocks, 40 fuel. 10 cartons of Zhonghua cigarettes, heavy tactical bulletproof vest, blue quality precisely pressed from high-strength carbon fiber and ultra-high molecular weight polyethylene fiber, capable of resisting direct hits from 5.56 mm and 7.62 mm NATO rifle steel core bullets. Features a modular design, supporting flexible installation of side protective plates, surface covered with waterproof and UV-resistant coating, suitable for extreme climates. Internal breathable cooling channels and elastic buffer layer, balancing heat dissipation and blunt force protection. Permanently unlocks upon use. Crafting requirements, 2 metal blocks, 5 rubber, 5 plastic, 1 glass. Everyone's eyes turned to Lin Shi again. This time, not only Lin Yu and Su Kursin, but even the usually gentle and reserved Su Wanwan looked at Lin Shi with curiosity and asked softly, Cici, you really don't smoke or drink, right? Su Kursin seemed to think of something then, turned to me, and said with a serious face, Boss, you don't smoke or drink either, and we have these beautiful women here, but we haven't seen you make a move. You don't happen to not like women, do you? After saying this, she winked at Lin Shi and the others. As Su Kursin's words fell, Lin Shi, Lin Yu, and Su Wanwan all turned their heads to look at me with strange expressions, as if waiting for my answer. The atmosphere in the cabin instantly became awkward. I looked at their strange gazes, then at the smirking Su Kursin, and shook my head helplessly, glancing at her. "Why don't you try it tonight?" Su Kursin wasn't afraid at all. Instead, she replied with excitement. Okay. After saying that, she turned to Lin Shi and the others, waved her hand, and said, "Cece, don't worry, I'll help you check the boss out first. I guarantee I'll give you an answer." I couldn't be bothered to deal with her anymore and said in a flat tone, "You guys put away the remaining supply crates." With that, I stood up and turned back to the driver's seat. Su Kursin watched my retreating back, then looked at Lin Shi and the others, noticing they were glaring at her. The excitement on her face instantly faded, and she quickly explained, Cece, I was just joking. Don't you think the boss is too boring?" Just then, I suddenly felt a strange smell permeating the air. I immediately thought of the situation from the morning, turned to them, and said in a low voice, "There's a situation. All of you, enter the domain space." Lin Shi and the others reacted as well. They wanted to say something, but seeing my grave expression, they swallowed their words. Lin Shi quickly said, "Brother Wu Di, be careful." With that, she pulled the worried Lin Yu and turned to enter the domain space. Su Kursin was also pulled in by Su Wanwan. Watching them enter the domain space safely, my expression grew even uglier, but there was nothing else I could do. I carefully sensed the smell in the air, unsure if it would cause harm to the body. "Xiaoxi, stop the car." "Understood, Commander." As the RV slowly came to a stop, I realized that the strange smell in the air hadn't dissipated. Instead, it was becoming more and more intense. My face was grim. Although I knew that as long as I entered the domain space, I could spend the night safely, facing this unknown, irresistible force made me feel incredibly uncomfortable. After pondering for a moment, my gaze fell on the gene reconstruction serum in my personal space. Gene reconstruction serum. Special item. Comprehensively optimizes human gene sequences, repairs genetic defects, and significantly improves physical fitness and environmental adaptability. Grants immunity to most viruses, radiation, and toxins, achieving an evolutionary transformation at the core level. Ineffective if physical fitness is greater than 200. Note: life iterates from here. The mortal body moves toward a new birth. Every breath is an evolution. This was a special item I had obtained through talent enhancement, but I had never been sure who to give it to, so it had remained in my personal space until now. Looking at the attribute description on the screen, my eyes grew firm. This serum could grant immunity to most viruses, radiation, and toxins. With my current physical fitness attribute of 1668, there was no reason I couldn't resist this strange odor. Thinking of this, I spoke directly into the air. "Xiaoxi, continue forward." "Understood, Commander." With Xiaoxi's reply, the RV continued forward. As the RV continued to move, the strange odor inside the vehicle never dissipated. In fact, it tended to grow even stronger, but I didn't panic in the slightest. I could clearly feel that my body was not being affected in any negative way. I had no symptoms of dizziness or nausea, nor was I feeling any discomfort from the odor. I muttered to myself, sure enough, as long as one's strength is sufficient, any crisis is just a paper tiger. It wasn't until late at night, at 23:20, that Xiaoxi's notification suddenly broke the silence. "Commander, a Research 7-type aggregated symbiote has been detected 1,000 meters ahead." Along with the notification, detailed information appeared on the center console screen. Research 7-type aggregated symbiote. This was a special aberration born after the biometal fusion experiment at Shelter Number 7 went out of control. Its main body was humanoid, about 4 meters tall, and its body surface was covered with a layer of constantly crystallizing dark red creep shell, which was hard and constantly writhing slowly. These shells were interlaced like hyperplastic bone spurs, and the internal pulsing biological fluorescence was faintly visible through the gaps. Attack methods: can detach hardened creep crystals from its arms and project them at high speed. The crystal spikes are sharp and continue to grow and entangle upon impact, restricting the target's movement. It can also release a small-range electromagnetic pulse to interfere with electronic equipment and spray a pale yellow spore mist from the crystal gaps, causing burning in the lungs and auditory hallucinations in those who inhale it. Characteristics: this symbiote can sense metal objects within 100 meters and actively approach them. When attacked, it can rapidly harden the creep on its body surface into crystal armor, enhancing its defensive capabilities. The odor it emits has strong adhesion and will continue to attract surrounding small fungal organisms for 24 hours. Weaknesses: its crystal shell is sensitive to specific frequency sound waves and cannot withstand high doses of radiation. Its electromagnetic interference capability relies on metal conduction and is easily interrupted by strong magnetic fields. Looking at the monster information popping up on the screen, a sharp glint flashed in my eyes. I muttered, "So this is the monster that caused all this? Perfect. Let me use you to test the power of the Titan's fury and see whether your shell is harder or my eternal grade armor is harder." Xiaoxi, stop the car and mark the specific location. Understood, Commander. Car stopped. The Research 7-type aggregated symbiote is 300 meters ahead. Specific coordinates have been synchronized to the center console screen. Looking at the monster in the middle of the road on the screen, I stepped out of the RV. The moment I stepped out, pale purple light surged around me, and the Titan's Fury mecha formed instantly. The cold metallic texture wrapped around my body, and the air pressure around me became heavy. I flashed forward like an arrow from a bow. The 300-meter distance was covered in an instant with the mecha's speed. Upon reaching the target, I didn't hesitate for a second, controlling the mecha to crash directly into the Research 7-type aggregated symbiote. There was no unnecessary probing, only an unstoppable impact. With a loud bang, the symbiote's shell was shattered, and the internal biological tissue splattered everywhere. The originally sturdy creep shell was no match for the impact of the Titan's Fury mecha. I stopped my movement and turned to look at the Research 7-type aggregated symbiote, which was gradually dissipating behind me. As the Research 7-type aggregated symbiote dissipated, it left behind a supply crate that looked special at first glance. I walked straight up to it, retrieved it, and returned to the cabin. As soon as I returned to the vehicle, I heard Xiaoxi's notification. "Commander, the biological signals of the Corrosion fungus carpet and the Research 7-type aggregated symbiote have all disappeared." Hearing Xiaoxi's prompt, I realized that the strange odor inside the vehicle had dissipated significantly, and the fungus carpet that had originally covered the windows had all fallen off. At this moment, I had only one thought. As long as one's strength is sufficient, all crises are my opportunities. "Xiaoxi, continue forward." After saying this, I lay down directly in the driver's seat. "Understood, Commander." As Xiaoxi's notification chime sounded, the RV continued its journey. The road ahead was smooth sailing. There were no monsters in sight, and the strange, foul odors from before had vanished. Seeing this, I sent a message to the team channel confirming our safety. Not long after the message was sent, Su Wanwan emerged from the domain space and walked over to sit in the front passenger seat. "Brother Wu Di, you should get some rest. I'll keep watch here, and I'll wake you if anything happens." I nodded and laid down on the driver's seat, sleeping soundly until the next morning without any anomalies occurring. As Lin Shi and the others emerged from the domain space one by one, we had a simple breakfast and tidied up. I returned to the driver's seat, gazing out the window and silently pondering the unknown dangers of today's survival game. Shortly after 6 a.m., Xiaoxi's notification chime rang right on time. "Commander, a building has been detected 1,000 meters ahead. Do you wish to stop?" "Approach and stop," I commanded in a low voice without a moment's hesitation. The others, who had been inside the cabin, immediately gathered around the driver's cab, their eyes fixed intently on the road ahead, their faces filled with curiosity and vigilance. As the RV slowly approached and came to a halt, we finally saw that it wasn't a tall building at all. It was just a large tent by the side of the road, covered at the top, but open on all four sides. Beneath the tent sat a sturdy wooden long table. Through the RV windows, we could clearly see a sumptuous breakfast laid out on the table: steaming soy milk, fried dough sticks, steamed buns, tea, eggs, several small dishes of pickles, and even 2 glasses of milk, all arranged neatly and looking incredibly tempting. We looked at each other in confusion, none of us daring to easily trust this sudden stroke of luck. Su Kursin was the first to break the silence. She looked at Lin Shi, her tone filled with disbelief. Shi, pinch me. Her words drew everyone's attention. Seeing this, she quickly explained with a laugh. Hee, I just wanted to see if I was hallucinating. This is the first time I've encountered such a good thing in this survival world. I spoke calmly and firmly. Xiaoxi's radar has already detected it. It's not a hallucination. Su Wanwan looked worried and asked softly, Brother Wu Di, could there be danger down there? There's no such thing as a free lunch. This breakfast appeared too strangely. Just as we were debating, Lin Yu suddenly spoke up. Brother Wu Di, look at the communication channel. I immediately opened the communication channel to check. It was already in an uproar. Does anyone get this? A tent suddenly appeared by the road with a table of breakfast inside. I don't dare eat it. Has anyone tried it? Damn it, if it's free, I'm eating it. I'd rather die a full ghost than a hungry one. My companion couldn't resist and ate 2 buns. Now they say they want more, and I can't stop them. I suspect there's something wrong with the food. I'm not touching it. How could such a good thing exist in this place? It's over. I just ate a fried dough stick. What do I do? Does anyone know what's going on? Why did all this free breakfast suddenly appear? You guys should try it. The taste is actually great. I ate everything, and I'm perfectly fine. After a quick glance at the communication channel, I withdrew my gaze and said calmly, Let's go down and take a look. We all stepped out of the vehicle and entered the tent, our eyes fixed on the breakfast as we observed it closely. Lin Yu leaned in to sniff it and said, Sister, it doesn't smell as good as what you make. Su Kursin also leaned in to smell it, then turned to Lin Shi and said, Shi, it really isn't as fragrant as yours. No wonder the boss is so obsessed with you. I ignored Su Kursin's teasing and walked straight up to carefully inspect the breakfast. I found it to be ordinary home-cooked food with nothing strange about it. However, when I tried to store the breakfast in my personal space, I found I couldn't. Clearly, the system had specifically restricted it. Let's go, nothing to see here, I said calmly, then turned and walked back toward the RV. Seeing this, the others followed my lead and quickly returned inside. The RV restarted and continued forward. None of us relaxed. We kept our eyes glued to the updates on the communication channel, closely monitoring the situation of other survivors. However, the journey that followed was almost eerie. Every 30 minutes or so, we would encounter another building, and inside every single one, there was an assortment of food. Even stranger, the buildings became increasingly intact, transitioning from simple tents to wooden cabins and bungalows. The food also became more lavish, upgrading from home-style breakfasts to meat and vegetable lunches, delicate pastries, fresh fruit, and cooked dishes, each time more tempting than the last. At this moment, Lin Yu, sitting in the passenger seat, suddenly changed expression and shouted urgently, Brother Wu Di, there really is something wrong with this food. I nodded, as I was also closely monitoring the communication channel. Help! My companion ate those cooked dishes, and now they have to stop and eat at every single food point we pass. My friend ate the breakfast, and now I can't reach them anymore. Sigh, I told them not to eat it. It must be addictive. I ate 1 piece of pastry, and now my mind is filled with nothing but food. I can't control myself. I tied my teammate up. They've already eaten 3 rounds of food. If they keep going, they're going to burst. Does anyone know how to break this addiction? I've already eaten 2 rounds, and I feel like I'm losing control. You can't save a fool from their own death. Such an obvious trap. You deserve what's coming to you. From then on, we didn't get out to check any more buildings. By 12:19 p.m., after we had just finished lunch, Lin Shi and Su Wanwan went to the domain space to tend to their vegetable patch. As I leaned back in the driver's seat, I observed that the content on the communication channel had changed again. Have you guys encountered food that increases attributes? It's amazing. A table full of dishes, and I gained 5 points of physique in one go. Don't eat it. Wasn't the lesson from this morning enough? Even if it adds attributes, you'll burst from overeating if you get addicted. Eating a little bit should be fine, right? This increases attributes. Has anyone tried it without any issues? I advise everyone not to take the risk. My friend couldn't resist the temptation, and now they're dragging me around to frantically search for food. I can't control them. Many of the people who ate the food this morning can no longer be reached. Do you still dare to eat it? Just then, Xiaoxi's notification chimes sounded again. Commander, a building has been detected ahead. Do you wish to approach and stop? Approach and stop. I hesitated for a moment, but decided to go down and take a look. The RV slowed to a stop. Through the window, I saw a one-story bungalow. It was in better condition than the ones we had encountered before, with off-white tiled exterior walls, a concrete roof, and simple, refined decor, much better than a standard civilian house. I looked at Lin Yu and Su Kersin and said calmly, "Let's go down and see what this one is." The three of us stepped out and entered the bungalow. We found the space inside was about 20 square meters, decorated very simply, with only a 2-square-meter round table in the center and 4 chairs around it. The table was filled with 8 dishes, all common fare: pan-fried sea bass, cola chicken wings, stir-fried beef with green peppers, scrambled eggs with tomatoes, garlic lettuce, braised pork belly, shredded potatoes with hot and sour sauce, and a bowl of winter melon meatball soup. It was steaming hot and smelled delicious. Before even reaching the table, Su Kersin's eyes lit up. They're trying to test me with this? They're really looking down on me. Lin Yu looked at Su Kersin with curiosity and confusion. Su Kersin noticed Lin Yu's gaze and smiled, ruffling her hair. "Little Yu, I'm just trying to liven things up. Look at the boss. He's so gloomy every day. It's so boring." I ignored their banter and walked straight to the table. As soon as I got close, a system interface popped up, clearly displaying. Each dish can increase physique by 1 point. When Su Kersin approached and saw the prompt on the system interface, she was stunned. Su Kersin couldn't help but exclaim, "Holy crap, boss. No wonder those people couldn't resist the temptation. If I didn't have the mutant physique fruit you gave me, I definitely would have tried it. That's 8 points of physique on one table." My mind wasn't on the attribute-boosting dishes at all. My gaze fell on the round table, and I silently calculated whether I could move it back to the RV. I reached out, gripped the edge of the table, and tried to lift it. Seeing this, Su Kersin panicked and shouted, "Boss, what are you doing? You can't eat that." To her bewilderment, I wasn't touching the food at all. I was just examining the table. I tried a few times, but the table didn't budge, nor could I store it in my personal space. I couldn't help but sigh and mutter, "This survival game is so stingy. It won't even let me fleece a single table." Seeing my actions, Lin Yu's eyes lit up. She ran to the table and tried to move one of the chairs, muttering, "If we can't move the table, we can at least take the chairs." As it turned out, even with all her strength, the chair didn't move an inch. Lin Yu's face fell. "Brother Wu Di, I can't move it. What a pity. Let's go back." I didn't waste any more words and turned to walk back to the vehicle. Since we couldn't take it, there was no point in staying. The two of them quickly followed, and we returned to the RV. "Xiaoxi, don't stop for any more buildings." "Understood, Commander." As time passed, the messages on the communication channel became increasingly outrageous. My God, the dishes I just encountered. Eating one actually adds 5 points of physique. This is insane. If I eat the whole table, I'll be a superhuman. Why wouldn't I eat it? Will I survive if I don't? Meeting a monster means death, but eating this doesn't necessarily mean death. If you don't gamble now, when will you? I advise everyone not to be greedy. Have you forgotten the crises of the past few days? 2 of my friends can no longer be reached. I've given up. Even if it adds more attributes, I won't risk my life. Isn't living safely and steadily better? At this moment, Lin Yu suddenly turned to me, her face full of curiosity. "Brother Wu Di, why do you think these people still try it even when they know there's a problem?" I turned my head to look at the innocent-looking Lin Yu. Before I could speak, Su Kersin chimed in, looking serious. "Little Yu, let me tell you, this is human nature. As long as there's a chance to survive, even if they know there's a risk, some people will gamble on the hope that they'll be the lucky ones." After saying this, Su Kersin's eyes grew slightly distant, as if she were remembering her own days of surviving alone, and she murmured, "If I were alone right now, I might have been just like them." Seeing this, I helplessly interrupted her. If you're that bored, go help Lin Shi and the others with the farming. Su Kurson took the hint and said, Boss, little you is too naive. I'm just helping you teach her. Hee hee. I'll go help Shi and Wan now. With that, she turned and ran toward the domain space. After Su Kurson disappeared, I looked out the window and said softly, the crises we've encountered so far are all magnifying our desires. Keep yourself under control. I fell silent after that, and Lin Yu lowered her head, silently pondering what I had said. Time drifted by, and before we knew it, it was around 5 p.m. Commander, a building has been detected ahead. Following your instructions, I will not stop and will continue forward. Xiaoxi's notification chime sounded. I hadn't been paying much attention, still gazing out the window. But the moment that building entered my field of vision, my pupils constricted, and I shouted, Xiaoxi, stop! Following my command, the RV, which had been traveling at 120 kilometers per hour, came to a precise stop within just 10 meters. The two people inside the cabin didn't feel a single jolt. I looked toward the roadside. The building was surrounded by a small courtyard, with withered vines wrapped around a white iron fence. There was no gate, and a smooth stone path led to the center. The one-story bungalow in the middle of the yard had light gray exterior walls, a sloped roof, and large floor-to-ceiling windows, looking like a small luxury estate. Lin Yu was full of curiosity and couldn't help but ask, Brother Wu Di, should we go down and take a look? Should we call the others? I pondered for a moment and said calmly, You notify them first, we'll go down and check it out. With that, I pushed the door open and stepped outside, with Lin Yu following closely behind. We walked along the stone path into the bungalow. What greeted us was a luxury living room of about 100 square meters. The off-white floor tiles were polished to a mirror finish, and simple decorative paintings hung on the light gray walls. On both sides were 4 sets of dark gray sofas with white cushions, accompanied by exquisite coffee tables. In the center of the living room sat a huge round dining table with delicate patterns carved into its surface. Around it were 10 matching chairs, all in a minimalist style with armrests and backrests, the overall design being neat and grand. Lin Yu ran to the sofa, reached out to touch it, and said with envy, Brother Wu Di, if only we could move these back. I ignored her exclamation and walked straight to the dining table. Only upon getting close did I realize this table was different from the ones we had encountered before. There was no sumptuous food on it. There were 10 seats, and in front of each seat were 5 white porcelain plates, each covered with a silver lid. We couldn't see what was inside, and there was no aroma wafting out. The moment I reached the side of the dining table, a system prompt suddenly popped up. Ding! Insufficient number of people, less than 3. Meal conditions not met. Please wait for more players to join. I was stunned. This was the first time I had encountered such a situation. I quickly opened the communication channel to check, but after a long while, I found that no other survivors had mentioned such a scene. Clearly, we were the first to encounter this. Just as I was about to notify Lin Shi and the others to come over, I suddenly pricked up my ears, hearing the sound of a vehicle approaching. I turned and said calmly to Lin Yu, Someone's coming, be careful. Lin Yu reacted immediately, looking out the window and quickly pulling an M9 pistol from her personal space, while simultaneously sending a message to Lin Shi and the others. Through the glass wall, I could see clearly. About a minute later, an RV slowly pulled up and parked next to ours. The people inside seemed to have seen the two of us in the room, as they didn't get out or say anything. Lin Yu leaned toward me and whispered, Brother Wu Di, should we let the others come down? Before I could answer, the window of the other RV rolled down a third of the way, and a young man's voice came through, his tone cautious and polite. Friends inside, we mean no harm. We're just passing by and saw the building, so we came to take a look. If you don't welcome us, we'll leave right now and won't disturb you. I thought for a moment and shouted back, Come in, we're just passing by too. After waiting about 10 minutes, the door of the other RV opened, and a man and a woman stepped out. Both were in their 20s, their clothes covered in dust and stains, looking quite disheveled, their faces filled with exhaustion and vigilance. The man held a pistol in his hand, scanning the surroundings warily. The woman behind him also held a pistol, following him closely. The two cautiously entered the courtyard, not daring to approach the bungalow rashly. They stood in the center of the yard, their eyes fixed vigilantly on me and Linyu inside the room. After a few moments, the man spoke first, his tone cautious. "Two friends, thank you for letting us in. My name is Li Wei, and this is my companion, Zhang Qi. We were just passing by and saw this building, so we wanted to come in and see if we could stay here for the night. We definitely won't disturb you." The man spoke, but his feet never moved closer, maintaining a safe distance. Clearly, he hadn't fully lowered his guard. I looked at their tense expressions and said calmly, "Don't worry, as long as you behave yourselves, we have no interest in you." Hearing this, Li Wei and Zhang Ti visibly relaxed. When they were in their vehicle, they had already seen that it was just a man and a woman inside, and especially seeing the girl holding a weapon, they figured this pair likely weren't bad people. Now, receiving my clear statement, their hanging hearts finally settled. I gestured toward the dining table in the center of the living room and said faintly, "Come in and take a look at this." Li Wei and Zhang Qi looked at each other, hesitated for a moment, and then cautiously walked toward the hall, never letting their guard down for a second. Watching them, I turned and walked back to the round table. My curiosity was piqued. I wanted to know what exactly was hidden on the table. Li Wei and Zhang Qi exchanged glances, gritted their teeth, and followed me into the hall. As soon as the four of us reached the round table, a system prompt instantly popped up. "Ding! Number of people has reached 3. Meal conditions met. Please enjoy your dinner." I frowned at the prompt. I had originally thought 3 meant 3 teams, but I hadn't expected that just 3 living people would trigger the condition. As the prompt appeared, the silver lids on the table vanished into thin air. Seeing the scene before them, Li Wei and Zhang Qi were stunned, and upon realizing what was happening, they immediately scanned their surroundings with vigilance. Immediately after, another system prompt popped up. "Ding! Survivor exclusive set meal. Consuming this increases physique by 100. I stared at the system prompt, feeling nothing but disappointment. Meanwhile, Li Wei and Zhang Qi were filled with shock and disbelief. Lin Yu stood quietly to the side, saying nothing, waiting for me to make a decision. A moment later, I said, "Lin Yu, let's go." I didn't even look at the things on the table again. My tone was calm, but carried an unquestionable firmness. Just as I was about to walk out of the hall, I turned to look at Li Wei and Zhang Qi and said faintly, "It's fate that we met, but don't let desire control you." But Li Wei and Zhang Qi seemed not to have heard me at all. Their eyes were glued to the dining table, and they didn't move a muscle. Lin Yu looked at them, then quickly followed me. As we walked, she asked softly, "Brother Wu Di, do you think they'll eat the food on the table?" "Who knows?" I replied faintly. Let's go back and eat." Back on the RV, I saw Lin Shi and Su Wanwan preparing dinner. Su Kursin immediately rushed over, looking like she wanted credit. "Boss, Shi and Wanwan both wanted to go down earlier, but I stopped them." I looked at her with a headache, said nothing, and sat back in the driver's seat. I was filled with disappointment. I had expected this estate to have something worth looking forward to, but after all that trouble, we had come away with nothing. "Shao Shi, continue forward." "Understood, Commander." Su Kursin looked blankly at my back, then turned to Lin Yu. "Little Yu, what happened to the boss? Did something upset him?" Lin Yu blinked. "No, Sister Su. You didn't see it earlier, but Brother Wu Di was so cool." At this moment, Lin Shi, who was cooking nearby, suddenly laughed. "Sister Su, is it possible that Brother Wu Di just thinks you talk too much?" The atmosphere in the cabin lightened considerably. We chatted idly, and before long, we sat around the coffee table and quietly finished our meal. After the meal, Su Wanwan's talent treasure chest refreshed right on time. Without hesitation, she opened it and displayed the blueprint she obtained to everyone. 5.8 mm bullet blueprint. Permanently unlocks the ability to craft 5.8 mm bullets upon use. Crafting requirements: 1 metal block, 1 gunpowder, yields 10 rounds. None of us were surprised by this. Immediately after, I took out the supply crate I had scavenged in the middle of the night and placed it gently on the table. "Boss, where did you get this one again?" Su Kursin had just started to ask when she was silenced by the glares from the others. Fine. I'll stop talking, okay?" Under our watchful eyes, she reached out and opened the treasure chest that had come from the monster. Brother Wu Di, there's only one blueprint. She said softly, displaying the item's attributes. Dungeon Scroll, Special Item Research Institute Number 7. Research Institute Number 7 was once a top-secret base for the Biometal Fusion Project, aimed at combining the original creep, which possessed infinite regenerative capabilities, with high-hardness alloys to create a mechanical legion capable of self-repair. However, during an experiment known as the Crystallized Dawn, the creep underwent an irreversible mutation. It not only devoured all the security robots, but also fused with the researchers' genes, giving birth to terrifying monsters possessing both extreme aggression and radioactive properties. Note: we sought to create a steel body, but instead awakened a nightmare of flesh and blood. I took the blueprint from Shi and scanned the complete account of Research Institute Number 7. Lines of text like Biometal Fusion Project, Original Creep, and Crystallized Dawn Experimental Accident flashed before my eyes. In my mind, I instantly recalled the Research 7 type aggregated symbiote I had killed last night. It matched the description on the scroll perfectly. Brother Wu Di? Shi called out softly, seeing me staring at the blueprint in silence for a long time. I snapped back to reality, tucked the scroll into my personal space, suppressed the surging thoughts in my heart, and looked at the 2 silver supply crates she had taken out on the coffee table. Let's open these first. She nodded, took a deep breath, and reached out to open the 2 remaining silver supply crates from yesterday. As the crates dissolved into points of light, she displayed the haul to everyone. 40 metal blocks, 20 electronic components, 15 plastic, 10 rubber, 80 fuel, and 1 vegetable seed pack. M9 pistol blueprint. Green quality standard semi-automatic pistol, 15-round magazine capacity, 30-meter effective range, ammunition, 9 millimeters, reliable structure, low failure rate, easy for beginners to handle. Permanently unlocks the blueprint upon use. Crafting requirements: 10 metal blocks. Big sister, this blueprint is useless too. Have you been doing something bad lately? Yu leaned over, took a look, and pouted, clearly disappointed by the result. Su Kurson slumped on the sofa, waved her hand, and laughed. Be content, Xiaoyu. It's still better than those people who are too scared to even get out of their vehicles to pick up supply crates. I didn't join in their idle chatter. I took a glance at the final M9 pistol blueprint, tossed it into my personal space, and turned to walk back to the driver's seat. With a thought, I opened my personal space and looked at the jumble of blueprints inside. Then, looking at the mere 5 units of quantum primordial matter remaining, I furrowed my brows slightly. The 5 units I got from the gold treasure chest yesterday weren't even enough to craft the next piece of exoskeleton armor. Right now, all my strength progression was being bottlenecked by this single material. Forget it, strengthening my existing power is the most important thing for now. A moment later, I let out a soft breath, suppressing the irritation in my heart, and fixed my gaze on the panoramic vision blueprint in my personal space that I had obtained from the gold treasure chest yesterday. Panoramic vision blueprint. Purple quality installs 6 high-definition cameras around the vehicle body, generating a 360 degrees seamless panoramic view in real time via the vehicle system. Supports low-light and night vision imaging and dynamic distortion correction. Energy consumption plus 5%. Installation requirement: Level 4 vehicle or higher. Crafting requirements: 2 metal blocks, 1 glass, 5 plastic, 10 electronic components, 5 quantum primordial matter. When I got this blueprint yesterday, I wanted to craft and install it immediately, but I had already exhausted my daily talent usage limit, so I had set it aside. I had all the necessary materials in my space, and the quantum primordial matter was just enough. Without further thought, I triggered the crafting process. Ding, panoramic vision, crafting complete. The moment the system notification faded, I immediately activated my furnace of all things, talent, and a confirmation interface instantly popped up on the panel. Ding, do you wish to select panoramic vision as the main sacrifice, with no secondary sacrifice? I didn't hesitate for a second and confirmed the talent usage. Ding, talent usage successful, promoted to Tier 4, obtained, all-knowing eye, eternal. Seeing the brand new attributes pop up on the panel, My breath hitched, and I quickly examined them. All-knowing eye, eternal. Vehicle item. 1. Perspective imaging. Activates synthetic aperture mode via vehicle radar, actively emitting multi-band detection waves. Within the radar's detection range, it discards reliance on visible light and constructs real-time 3D perspective images that ignore environmental obstacles by analyzing wave reflection data. Usage requirement: Level 4 vehicle or higher. 2. Space-based domain. Establishes a connection with orbital satellite clusters. Within the satellite scanning range, it integrates radar details with satellite data in real time, reconstructing high-definition real-time images of the area to achieve true omniscient insight. Usage requirement: Requires an orbital satellite. 3. Temporal retrospection. Real-time caching and analysis of space-time data within the scanning range. Supports the reproduction of images from the past 24 hours within the scanning range. Images retain original detection precision, allowing for free adjustment of the timeline and switching of observation perspectives to accurately restore target movement trajectories and environmental changes. Usage requirement: Level 7 vehicle or higher. Installation requirement: Level 4 vehicle or higher. Looking at the eternal-grade equipment, a surge of excitement welled up in me. However, after reading the attributes carefully, I felt something was slightly off. Even though this gear carried an eternal-grade rating, it didn't feel as practical as the Titan's Wrath, or even some of the red-quality core components on my vehicle. Whatever, it doesn't matter. After pondering for a long time without finding the reason, I gave up on the thought and triggered the installation process. Xiaoxi, I've installed a new vehicle item for you. Run a check, I said in a deep voice to the air. Commander, all-knowing I detected and integrated into system control. The perspective imaging function is currently available for use. Space-based domain and temporal retrospection functions are currently unavailable due to hardware and vehicle-level limitations. At this moment, Linyu, who was sitting in the passenger seat, suddenly leaned over, her small face full of confusion. Brother Wu Di, did you install a new item? What's wrong? I turned to look at her. Linyu hesitated for a long time before whispering. Brother Wu Di, what did you install? Our vehicle points haven't changed at all. Hearing Linyu's words, I didn't react for a second. It took me 2 seconds to process it. An eternal-grade item had been installed, yet the vehicle points hadn't increased at all. I immediately opened the global vehicle leaderboard. First place, anonymous, vehicle level, 5, vehicle points, 360,500. Second place, anonymous, vehicle level, 5, vehicle points, 6,320. Third place, anonymous, vehicle level, 5, vehicle points, 6,310. Fourth place, Lin Shun, vehicle level, 5, vehicle points, 6,300. Fifth place, anonymous, vehicle level, 5, vehicle points, 6,290. Sixth place, anonymous, vehicle level, 5, vehicle points, 6,180. Seventh place, Elena, vehicle level, 4, vehicle points, 6,170. Eighth place, anonymous, vehicle level, 4, vehicle points, 6,100. Ninth place, anonymous, vehicle level, 4, vehicle points, 5,960. 10th place, anonymous, vehicle level, 4, vehicle points, 5,920. I looked at the points on the leaderboard and then opened my own vehicle information interface. Vehicle, level 5 vehicle, top speed, 300 kilometers per hour. Vehicle accessories/items, lucky pendant, gold, HX, 9-ion thruster, red, ceramic composite bulletproof glass, gold, Titan, MK4 composite chassis, gold. Vehicle nuclear reactor, orange. Smart constant temperature refrigeration box, purple. Atmospheric water collection unit, orange. Vehicle global scanning radar, gold. 30mm chain cannon, orange. Smart hub, gold. Titan armor piercing ram, purple. Multispectral penetrating illumination unit, purple. Composite armor coating, gold. Global stealth reconnaissance drone, purple. Holographic shape-shifting camouflage, gold. Ancient constructor. Imperial divine armor, red. Matrix stability tracks, gold. Supercore power module, orange. anti-gravity suspension stability field generator, orange, holographic cinema projection module, purple, omnidimensional perception array, red, solid-state lithium iron phosphate integrated stack, gold, all-knowing eye, eternal. I soon had a guess. Could it be that items above red quality aren't included in the vehicle points calculation? After thinking for a moment, I stopped dwelling on it. I pulled back my thoughts and fixed my gaze on the dungeon scroll, Research Institute number 7, in my personal space. Suddenly, I heard Su Kursen's voice. "Boss, what are you looking at so intently?" I turned to see that Lin Shi, Lin Yu, Su Wanwan, and Su Kursen had gathered around the driver's seat at some point, their eyes fixed on me with curiosity. Lin Shi seemed to have guessed my thoughts and spoke softly. "Brother Wu Di, are you thinking about whether to go to that Research Institute number 7 dungeon?" Hearing Lin Shi, I looked at the four of them and asked calmly, "What do you think?" Lin Yu immediately leaned forward, her tone full of certainty. "Brother Wu Di, we are so strong. Even if the whole place is full of monsters, it definitely won't be a problem." Su Kursen, "Boss, everyone in this vehicle follows your lead. Whether we go or not is just a word from you. Why ask us?" Su Wanwan nodded gently without saying a word. I swept my gaze over the four of them and said in a deep voice, "Then get ready. Let's go see what this Research Institute number 7 is all about." Once the words left my lips, I didn't hesitate. I triggered the system interface and chose to use the dungeon scroll, Research Institute number 7. The next second, a familiar, blinding white light erupted, instantly enveloping the entire RV and wrapping all five of us inside. The moment the light dissipated, we all looked out the window. Before us stood a steep, smooth, massive cliff face. Embedded in the center of the cliff was a metal door about 2 people tall. The door was deep black, with intricate mechanical patterns engraved on its surface, exuding a cold and oppressive aura that warned strangers to stay away. To our surprise, besides our RV, there were nearly 20 other vehicles scattered across the open ground in front of the cliff. "No way, boss. How are there so many people?" Su Kursen's eyes widened, her tone full of astonishment. "Do they all have this dungeon scroll like us? This thing isn't worth much, is it? I thought we were the only ones who had it." Lin Yu also wrinkled her small face, leaned toward the window to look outside, and turned to me with a bewildered expression. "Brother Wu Di, there's no system notification? It didn't even state the dungeon rules. What do we do now?" Before I could respond, Xiaoxi's notification suddenly sounded inside the cabin. "Commander, biological signals detected. Corrosion fungus carpet. Synchronized to the center console screen." Our eyes instantly snapped to the center console screen. On the radar map, dense red dots representing the corrosion fungus carpet were concentrated behind the closed metal door, in numbers that made one's scalp tingle. "Xiaoxi, can you scan the interior of the metal door?" "Commander, the internal 3D structure map has been synchronized to the center console screen. However, there is strong energy interference inside, making it impossible to render real-time high-definition images. Only the basic structural framework can be constructed." As Xiaoxi finished speaking, a clear 3D structural map lit up on the screen. In the image, behind the metal door was a straight, narrow, and long corridor extending deep into the mountain, as if it had no end. Su Kursen looked at the structural map on the screen and then turned to me, her eyes filled with a mix of strangeness and admiration. "Boss, are you really not some kind of child of destiny with a built-in cheat? Everyone else enters the dungeon blind, and we have the internal structural map right here. This is too ridiculous." Although Lin Shi and the others were already used to me pulling out unimaginable items, they still couldn't help but show a hint of surprise as they looked at the clear 3D map on the screen. But after the surprise, Lin Shi quickly frowned, her tone filled with concern. "Brother Wu Di, this corridor is too narrow. Our RV can't drive in at all. And with the corridor being so long and the situation inside unknown, plus the large amount of corrosion fungus carpet, it's too dangerous to go in rashly." I nodded slowly, my gaze fixed on the infinitely extending corridor on the screen, my brows furrowed. Our radar's standard detection range was 1,000 meters, but we couldn't even see the end of the corridor, which showed that the scale of this research institute far exceeded our imagination. I looked out the window. The vehicles parked in the open space remained motionless. The people inside seemed to be waiting and watching, and no one had stepped out. Wasting time like this is pointless. I'll go down and check the situation, I said after a moment of contemplation. As soon as I finished speaking, Lin Yu, Su Wanwan, and Su Kursin all looked at me with an urgency that clearly said, I want to go too. Even the usually steady Lin, she took a half step forward. Looking at them, I sighed helplessly. We can't all go down. Someone has to stay behind to guard the vehicle. Brother Wudi, you guys go. I'll stay behind. Hearing my words, Lin, she spoke up immediately, her tone firm and without a hint of hesitation. Seeing Lin she volunteer, I thought for a moment and nodded. Let's go. With that, I was the first to push open the door and step out. Lin Yu followed immediately behind. Su Wanwan took out her modified QBZ-95 assault rifle, gave Lin Shi a reassuring gesture, and said softly, She, don't worry, I'll protect Xiaoyu. With that, she quickly followed my footsteps. Su Kursin just gave Lin Shi a leave-it-to-me look, then gripped her cloud-piercing bow and followed along with a light step. I stepped off the RV, my gaze sweeping calmly over the 20 or so scattered vehicles without lingering, and headed straight toward the metal door on the cliff to check its condition. Su Wanwan and the others followed closely, keeping a vigilant eye on the movements behind and to the sides. However, before we could even get close to the metal door, a rough shout came from behind. Hey, you guys, don't move. We paused and turned in unison. A door of an SUV was pushed open, and a man in his 20s stepped out. His clothes were relatively clean and tidy. He was holding an AK-74 assault rifle, pointing it at us from a distance, his face full of wariness and malice. Seeing this, Su Kursin frowned and was about to retort, but Su Wanwan was quick-witted, grabbed her arm, and shook her head gently. Su Kursin glared at the man who had shouted, but ultimately kept her mouth shut, though she gripped her bow even tighter. My expression didn't change at all. I looked at the man and asked in a flat, emotionless tone, What do you want to say? Seeing that we hadn't made any rash moves, the man grew a bit bolder. He lifted his chin and said, I want to ask you guys, do you know what's going on here? How did we suddenly get dragged here by a white light? They said we have to participate in the Research Institute No. 7 dungeon. Do you know the inside story? As soon as the leader finished speaking, the surrounding vehicles began to stir. Doors were pushed open one after another, and over 20 survivors filed out. Most of them were in rags, their faces showing the numbness and ruthlessness forged in the apocalypse. Hearing the leaders questioning, they seemed to have finally found an outlet for their emotions, and a chorus of clamor and questioning instantly exploded across the open ground. Yeah, we were dragged here by the white light for no reason, too. How come you guys aren't panicking at all? You must have known the inside story. Damn it. I just found an abandoned supermarket to stay in, and before I could even catch my breath, I was dragged to this hellhole. Spit out everything you know. I think they look suspicious. Look at them, dressed so cleanly, not a hint of fear on their faces. They don't look like survivors who have been struggling in the apocalypse at all. Exactly. I've never seen a survivor team up with 3 women, and all of them look so pampered. They must have good stuff. Maybe that's why they're living so comfortably. I've managed to survive until now, and I don't want to die here without knowing why. Tell us what you know, or don't expect to have an easy time. The clamor and questioning echoed across the empty foot of the mountain. In their eyes, besides suspicion and wariness, there was more of an undisguised greed. In this man-eating apocalypse, clean clothes, sufficient supplies, and beautiful women were each enough to make these survivors struggling on the edge of life and death go red with envy. The man who had spoken first was now looking at the agitated crowd with triumph, a confident smirk curling his lips. When he first shouted, half of it was to gauge the situation of the dungeon by using the crowd, and the other half was because his attention had been completely captured by the 3 women behind me. In this dark, sunless apocalypse, he had seen too many disheveled, blood-stained women who would risk their lives for a bite of food. When had he ever seen girls like Lin Yu and the others, so beautiful, so clean, and not even showing much fear in their eyes? His eyes darted back and forth over the 3 of them, almost glued to them. Seeing everyone following his lead to denounce me, he felt extremely proud. Thinking his move was flawless, He had established his authority among this rabble, become the leader, and when the time came to act, he might even be able to get his hands on these 3 women, while also looting their supplies and vehicle. I looked at this group of agitated survivors, my eyes devoid of any ripples, as if they weren't 20-plus armed survivors, but a group of noisy ants. My fingertips moved slightly, and I sent a message in the team channel. Lin Shi, tell Xiaoxi to get ready and lock onto all surrounding vehicles. After sending the message, I slowly scanned the crowd. My gaze was calm to the point of being cold, devoid of any emotion, yet it carried an invisible pressure. Where it swept, the noisy crowd seemed to have been throttled by an invisible hand, subconsciously quieting down, even their breathing becoming shallow. A second later, I spoke slowly. My voice was low, not even raised, yet it carried a chilling, oppressive weight that pierced the hearts of everyone present. Either shut up and stay where you are, or I'll make sure you stay here forever. As soon as the words left my mouth, the man who had spoken first froze, then suddenly burst into exaggerated laughter, as if he'd heard the greatest joke in the world. No way, brother, are you out of your mind? You think you can take us with just the 4 of you and a few guns? Have you looked at how many of us there are? Do you really think you're some big shot? As he spoke, he shifted his gaze from me to Su Wanwan and the other 2 women, forcing a smile he clearly thought was charming. Ladies, you aren't actually with this arrogant fool, are you? If you just met him, come over to my side. We have more people, it's safer. If things get messy later, it would be a real shame if you got caught in the crossfire. However, before he could even finish his sentence, a sharp, cold glint flashed across his field of vision. He didn't even see what it was. He only felt a sharp, piercing pain in the center of his forehead. The next second, his world plunged into endless darkness, and he lost all consciousness. With a dull thud, the man collapsed backward onto the ground. An arrow with a chilling gleam was embedded deep in the center of his forehead, its fletching still trembling slightly. Blood trickled slowly from his brow, staining the ground beneath him. The group of people who had been clamoring just moments ago fell into instant, deathly silence. Every eye turned towards Su Kurson, who was slowly lowering her cloud-piercing bow, their faces filled with utter, disbelieving shock. After a brief, dead silence, scattered, hushed whispers broke out among the crowd, filled with unconcealable panic. Damn, there are so many of us, and they actually dared to strike first? Are they from some savage village? Hell, they really don't talk much, they just kill. That guy deserved it. With a mouth like that, it's no wonder he died. Brother, what do we do? This group looks way too vicious. Should we go back to the vehicle and hide? Damn my luck. We survived the monsters all day, and just when we were about to get some rest, we run into a maniac like this. Shut up, don't get noticed. That woman's archery is too accurate. A headshot without even blinking. Damn, I didn't even see it happen. I ignored their whispering and didn't even glance at the still warm corpse on the ground. My gaze swept calmly over the remaining people, and I spoke again, my tone devoid of any warmth. From now on, all of you go back to your vehicles and stay there. I'm giving you a way to live. Does anyone have any questions? Hearing my words, the murmurs vanished instantly, and the open space fell into a deathly silence once more. Everyone stared at me, their eyes filled with complex emotions. Although they were intimidated by Su Kurson's shot and knew deep down that we were ruthless and decisive, the greed and wishful thinking ingrained in them made them unwilling to just back down. There were over 20 of them, all armed with guns. How could they be scared off by a single sentence from 4 people? Just as someone in the crowd was getting restless and about to retort, they saw Su Kurson, standing beside me, suddenly raise her cloud-piercing bow again, knocking an arrow and releasing it. The entire motion was fluid and so fast they didn't even have time to react. Whoosh, whoosh, 2 sharp whistling sounds rang out in quick succession, followed immediately by 2 dull thuds of bodies hitting the ground. The remaining survivors finally snapped out of it and looked toward the source of the sound. 2 men, both around 30, lay flat on the ground, both killed instantly by arrows through the center of their foreheads. One of them was still clutching a loaded rifle, his finger already on the trigger, while the other man's rifle had fallen to the side, its safety already disengaged. Boss, Those two were about to open fire, Sue Curson said, lowering her cloud-piercing bow and gently brushing her fingertips over the string, her tone flat. Beside her, Su Wanwan and Lin Yu slowly lowered their own guns. Though their expressions were grim, they had noticed the two men's subtle movements immediately and had already aimed their weapons, only to be beaten to the punch by Sue Curson. I nodded slightly and swept my gaze over the survivors again, my cold voice ringing out once more. I don't want to waste any more time. If you want to live, drive your vehicles 100 meters away and stay inside quietly. Starting now, a 3-minute countdown. As I finished speaking, I sent a message on the team channel. If anyone is still parked here after 3 minutes, have Xiaoxi activate the 30mm chain cannon and blow them all away. Once the message was sent, I turned to Lin Yu and the others. My tone brooks no argument. Get back to the RV. You can't enter the environment inside, so just guard the vehicle. Su Wanwan looked at me and nodded gently. She reached out to grab Lin Yu, who was still hesitating and wanting to say something, and tugged at Sue Curson, who was still clutching her bow with an unwilling expression, giving them both a quick look. The three of them didn't say another word. They nodded at me, turned quickly, and sprinted toward the RV, climbing inside within seconds. Seeing them safely back in the vehicle, my heart settled. I looked back at the group of survivors, who were still standing there in a daze, struggling with their choices, and said coldly, 2 minutes and 30 seconds left. This sentence was like a thunderclap, instantly waking those who were still gambling on their luck. They finally realized that I wasn't bluffing. I was truly willing to kill in broad daylight, and the 3 warm corpses on the ground were the best proof. 7 or 8 people turned pale and scrambled back to their vehicles, fumbling with keys to start their engines. The roar of engines filled the clearing. Within seconds, 6 or 7 vehicles sped off, driving 100 meters away before stopping. They didn't even dare to roll down their windows, only daring to peek through the glass. However, about half of the people remained where they were. Their eyes darted between the 3 corpses on the ground and the open metal door, filled with struggle and greed. They were afraid of my ruthlessness and feared they would be the next to die, but they were unwilling to give up the potential opportunities inside the dungeon. A dungeon opened by the system must contain treasures. More importantly, there were over a dozen of them with guns. They couldn't bring themselves to believe that I, alone, would actually dare to take them all on. I watched the remaining people without urging them further or sparing them another glance. I turned directly and walked toward the pitch-black, 2-story-high alloy metal door. I pressed my hand against the mechanical patterns on the door, the cold metal sensation traveling to my fingertips, and prepared to exert some force. However, the moment my palm touched the metal, the seamless alloy door began to slide open from the center to both sides without a single screech of friction, revealing a dark, deep passage inside. The moment the door opened, I retreated 2 steps, my gaze sharp and fixed on the interior. To my surprise, even with the door wide open, the dense corrosion fungus carpet detected by the radar earlier showed no signs of drifting out. It remained suspended quietly inside the passage, as if trapped by an invisible barrier. Seeing this, a flash of surprise crossed my eyes. Without hesitation, I stepped into the metal door. The moment my foot crossed the threshold, I willed it, and the eternal Grade Titan's Fury mecha instantly equipped itself onto me. In a flash, my figure vanished, replaced by a giant mecha standing about 3 meters tall. I stood in the passage and looked up. The overhead lights illuminated a straight rock-walled tunnel, about 5 meters high and 3 meters wide. It extended deep into the mountain, with no end in sight. Before I could observe further, I heard the heavy mechanical sound of the metal door closing behind me. Immediately following that was the familiar sound of the 30mm chain cannon on the RV's roof activating. Deafening explosions rang out in succession, mixed with the whistling of bullets, the screams of survivors, and the roar of exploding vehicles, all clearly audible from the outside world. I paused for a moment, but didn't look back. I trusted the RV and the women's abilities. I didn't need to be distracted by what was happening outside. Shaking off the thought, I controlled the mecha and locked my gaze on the passage ahead, walking straight into the depths. Along the way, there were only cold, hard rock walls on both sides. No forks, no anomalies, and even the suspended corrosion fungus carpet didn't attack me. It was eerily quiet. After walking nearly a kilometer, the limit of my previous radar detection, I looked ahead, but the straight rock tunnel continued without change, still endless. I frowned slightly, stopped, and calmed my mind to sense the surroundings. A moment later, I walked to a rock wall on the left, reached out with my mechanical hand, and felt along the surface. When my fingertips touched a stone with a texture slightly different from the surrounding rock, I felt a slight vibration. Immediately after, the seamless wall emitted a mechanical sound and began to split open, revealing a sealed room of about 10 square meters. The ceiling lights were intact, emitting a soft white glow, and the metal walls were smooth and clean, showing no signs of rust. It didn't look abandoned at all. I maneuvered the mecha into the room and clearly felt the entire space descending at a steady speed. An elevator? A flash of surprise crossed my mind, followed by deep suspicion. This equipment still works? Could there be survivors in this research facility? No sooner had the thought crossed my mind than the elevator shuddered slightly and stopped descending. The entire process took less than 10 seconds. Are we here? As I pondered where this place could be, the metal wall in front of me slowly parted, revealing an incredibly vast underground hall. The lights on the ceiling lit up row by row, instantly flooding the entire space with light. I saw that the hall was filled with dense passages and sealed rooms, crisscrossing like a honeycomb. To my surprise, it was completely different from the experiment gone wrong scenario described in the dungeon scroll. The hall was clean and tidy, with no blood or signs of battle on the floor, and the tunnel entrances were intact. How am I supposed to find anything here? I maneuvered the mecha out of the elevator, frowning at the web of passages. With so many tunnels, I had no idea which one led to the core experimental area. I couldn't just try them one by one. Just as I was struggling with the decision, I heard a faint slithering sound coming from a passage on the left. I became alert instantly and spun around. Deep in the passage, a 4-meter-tall humanoid monster stood, its body covered in a layer of crystallized shell that looked like overgrown bone spurs. It was exactly the Research 7-type aggregated symbiote I had killed in the mist last night. So they all came from here. Looking at the monster, I didn't hesitate for a second. I accelerated instantly, charging forward like a bolt of lightning. The Research 7-type aggregated symbiote didn't even have time to react before it exploded. But this time, the corpse didn't dissipate into light particles like it did outside. It remained on the ground, still writhing slightly. I glanced at the corpse, just about to step forward to examine it, when I heard the same slithering sounds coming from other passages in succession. Are they all these things? I muttered to myself. For the next half hour, the entire underground hall turned into a slaughterhouse. When the last symbiote was crushed, I stood in the center of the hall, scanning the scattered remains, and counted silently, 98 of them. Is that all? I pricked up my ears and listened carefully. The entire hall had gone completely silent. I bent down and touched a symbiote corpse, trying to trigger the decomposition function. But no matter what I tried, no system notification appeared. After all that, I got nothing? I frowned. Just as I stood up and was looking at the web of passages, wondering which way to go, the lights in the entire hall suddenly went out without warning, plunging everything into pitch-black darkness. Only one passage on the far right remained brightly lit, acting like a clear signpost in the endless dark. Is there really someone alive, and are they guiding me? I looked at the lit passage, a flash of vigilance in my eyes. But I had absolute confidence in my current strength. With Titan's Wrath, I had the confidence to solve any problem head-on. Without further hesitation, I maneuvered the mecha toward the only lit passage. Once inside, I realized this tunnel was completely different from the others. There were no rooms or forks on either side, just a straight metal corridor with smooth alloy plates on the floor and walls, a completely different style from the rock tunnels outside. After advancing another 300 meters, I noticed I had reached the end of the passage. As I approached, the metal wall at the end sensed my presence and slowly parted. I maneuvered the mecha inside and found it was a sealed space of only 4 square meters, identical to the previous elevator. Another elevator? As soon as this thought arose, I felt the entire space begin to descend again. This time, the speed was more than twice as fast as before, and it lasted much longer, nearly 2 minutes before it slowly came to a halt. With a soft ding, the elevator door slid open. What appeared before me was an incredibly vast underground hall, over 10 meters high and more than 100 meters wide, more than 10 times larger than the previous one. In the center of the hall stood a massive cylindrical glass device, which appeared to be some kind of giant cultivation container, though the glass walls were completely shattered. What made my pupils shrink and forced a curse out of my mouth was the massive, sludge-like creature inside the container. Like a mountain of flesh, it not only filled the entire container, but had overflowed, spreading across the hall floor and occupying nearly half the space. The entire mountain of flesh was slowly writhing, its surface constantly bulging and smoothing out, occasionally revealing twisted human-like silhouettes that quickly dissipated back into the mass. It looked incredibly eerie. Damn, what the hell is this? So disgusting. I stopped the mecha, my stomach churning. Is this the final boss? Is this the terrifying monster mentioned in the dungeon scroll? Damn it, whatever you are, if you aren't moving, I'll tear you apart first. With that, I willed the armor-piercing Tang Dao from my personal space into the mecha's hand. The blade, designed for a human, looked a bit small in the 3-meter-tall mecha's grip. I tried swinging it. It wasn't very comfortable, but it would do. The next second, I charged the mecha straight at the flesh mountain creep mother body. Things went smoother than I expected. The mountain of flesh had no defense against the absolute power of Titan's wrath. Under my relentless hacking, the massive mountain was quickly dismantled into pieces, and dark red tissue fluid splattered across the hall floor. But just as I stopped, thinking I had finished the monster, I noticed that the scattered pieces hadn't lost any vitality. The dark red chunks moved toward each other as if they had a mind of their own, writhing and fusing. At this rate, they would reassemble into the complete mountain of flesh in less than half an hour. Again, my brow furrowed instantly. Without hesitation, I charged the Titan's Fury mecha forward again. The armor-piercing Tang Dao swung wildly, the sharp wind whistling through the hall as I hacked and crushed the fusing pieces into even smaller fragments, covering the entire floor of the hall. Yet, even so, the fragments continued to writhe and aggregate at a visible speed. I looked at the fragments still aggregating in the hall, my brow locked in a deep frown, a sense of helplessness rising in my heart. I had the Eternal Grade Titan's Fury mecha, so I didn't fear any attacks. Although I couldn't use the mecha's weapons for the moment, my own physique combined with the mecha's bonuses gave me immeasurable attack power. But against a monster with regenerative abilities that rendered physical attacks almost useless, I was truly at a loss, unable to find a way to use my strength. My gaze swept quickly through my personal space and finally landed on the RPG-7 Heavy Kill Rocket Launcher I had upgraded but never used. RPG-7 Heavy Kill Rocket Launcher, purple quality one-time heavy assault item, equipped with reinforced OG-7V high explosive armor-piercing dual-effect shells. Effective range 60 to 220 meters, explosion kill radius 18 to 25 meters, shockwave within 4 meters causes devastating internal injuries. Can easily destroy light armored vehicles and makeshift fortifications. Possesses crushing destructive power against unarmored vehicles and cluster targets, and can cause significant damage to medium armored targets. Limited effect on heavy armor. Risk of being affected by shockwaves and shrapnel if used at close range. I didn't hesitate, taking the rocket launcher from my personal space and locking the scope precisely onto the shattered cultivation container in the center of the hall, in the area where the flesh fragments were most dense. Boom! The rocket shell whistled out with a piercing shriek, hitting the target accurately. A violent explosion instantly echoed through the hundreds of meters wide underground hall. A terrifying shockwave, carrying flames of over 1,000 degrees, spread instantly, kicking up clouds of dust and causing the temperature in the entire hall to soar in an instant. If this doesn't work, I'm truly out of options, I thought silently, watching the thick smoke and sea of fire before me. However, to my surprise, the flames of the explosion did not fade with the smoke. Instead, they burned even more fiercely. The high-temperature fire from the rockets seemed to have ignited the fragments of the meat mountain, causing the flames to spread rapidly. I stood where I was, waiting quietly. It took nearly half an hour for the raging fire in the hall to gradually subside. Those meat mountain fragments, which possessed infinite regenerative capabilities and seemed impossible to kill, had been completely incinerated by the fire, leaving not even a trace of ash behind, only charred black marks on the ground. In the spot where the fire had died out, right in the center of the hall, only a pitch-black supply crate lay silently. I let out a long breath, my tense nerves finally relaxing a little. I maneuvered the mecha forward slowly and reached out to collect the treasure chest into my personal space. Just as I thought everything was over and was waiting for the system notification for the dungeon clearance, a pale blue holographic screen suddenly appeared out of thin air in the center of the hall. The screen flickered a few times, and an old man in his 60s with gray hair, deep-set features, and distinct characteristics of an alien race appeared on it, looking at me with a complex expression. "Young man, thank you." The old man's voice was slightly hoarse, carrying an unmistakable sense of relief. "Thank you for granting those souls trapped in the mother body true liberation." I became instantly vigilant, my gaze locked onto the screen as I said coldly, "So it was you who guided me here all along?" Hearing this, the old man on the screen paused for a moment before nodding. "Yes, young man. I am Albert, the chief researcher of this Research Institute number 7. This disaster was also caused by me." "Stop." I cut him off directly. I had no interest in his repentance or his past. I spoke bluntly. "I have a few questions for you, and you only need to answer them." Albert on the screen clearly hadn't expected this reaction. He hesitated for a moment, then nodded. "I will tell you anything I know. First question, do you know about the survival game?" I watched the screen quietly, though my heart was churning with an unmistakable sense of urgency. Ever since I entered this survival world, I had wanted to know the truth behind the game. This was the first time I had encountered someone who seemed to be an indigenous person, and I was desperate to get answers from him. However, a look of confusion appeared on Albert's face. He frowned and asked in return, "I don't understand what you mean. Which game are you talking about?" "The Empire's military simulation system." Hearing this answer, the light in my eyes dimmed instantly, and a wave of deep disappointment washed over me. I had originally thought I might finally touch upon the truth of this survival game, but it seemed the people in this research institute knew nothing about what was happening to me. I steadied my emotions, suppressed the disappointment in my heart, and continued. "Second question, is there anything else of value in this research institute?" Upon hearing my second question, a complex expression appeared on Albert's face. This was just a biological research institute on the Empire border, primarily conducting biometal fusion experiments. "The most valuable thing here," he paused, his gaze falling on the charred marks on the ground, "has already died at your hands." That mother body was the core achievement of the entire experiment. Hearing this, I understood. It seemed this dungeon trip was coming to an end. But just then, a critical question occurred to me. From the moment I killed the mother body until now, the system had not popped up any dungeon clearance notification, nor had the white light of teleportation appeared. If that meat mountain was truly the final boss of the dungeon, why was there no feedback? Without the system's teleportation, how was I supposed to return to the outside world? Unless this old man named Albert had been lying to me from the very beginning. But what reason would he have to lie? He was just a holographic projection. What could he possibly gain from me? What exactly did I need to do to trigger the dungeon clearance conditions? Countless thoughts flashed through my mind. I became alert, maneuvering the mecha to look around, scanning every corner of the hall for anything unusual. Albert on the screen saw my movements and looked quite hesitant. He spoke tentatively. "The central server here still retains the complete experimental data from before. I don't know if this is what you need, but if you are from the Empire, this should be more important than the mother body." Hearing this, I reacted instantly, following his lead. "Where is the data? How do I get it?" "The central server is beneath this hall. The safety lock is engaged. You need to go to the center of the incubation tank and manually start the unlocking procedure to raise the server," Albert said quickly, his tone carrying a hint of urgency. A cold glint flashed in my eyes. I maneuvered the mecha slowly to the center of the broken incubation tank and, following Albert's instructions, pressed a hidden button on the floor. With a mechanical click, the floor in the center of the incubation tank slowly split open, and a 2-meter-tall black server, wide enough for 3 people to wrap their arms around, slowly rose from underground, its surface flickering with dense indicator lights. Just as I maneuvered the mecha and reached out to touch the server, its outer shell suddenly cracked open, and countless dark red tentacles shot out, wrapping around the Titan's Fury mecha like venomous snakes. They densely covered the entire body, tightening frantically. At the same time, Albert on the screen burst into a maniacal laugh. The gentleness and relief from before were gone, replaced by twisted greed and madness. Ha ha! Thank you, young man. If you hadn't come in and helped me eliminate that out-of-control mother body, I would never have been able to break free from its suppression and regain control of this server carrier. I don't know which generation of mecha you are from to be able to ignore the pollution and erosion of the mother body, but it doesn't matter. From now on, this mecha is mine. No sooner had Albert finished speaking than he let out an incredulous scream, his madness instantly turning into terror. Impossible. This is impossible. How could the corrosive tentacles of the creep not even melt through your mecha's shell? How can you be completely unaffected? I looked at the hysterical old man on the screen without a ripple of emotion, not even bothering to waste words on him. I maneuvered the Titan's Fury mecha and exerted force with its arm. With a crisp crack, the creep tentacles covering the mecha were instantly snapped by the immense power, falling to the ground and losing their vitality. Immediately after, the mecha raised its fist and smashed it hard into the central server. The heavy alloy shell dented and shattered like paper, and the circuit boards, chips, and storage units inside were instantly crushed into fragments by the sheer force. As the server exploded, Albert on the screen let out a shrill scream, and his image instantly distorted and dissipated. The moment the server was completely destroyed, the familiar system notification finally rang in my mind. Ding! Research Institute number 7 dungeon cleared. Teleportation will begin shortly. Teleportation countdown. 10, 9, 8. I looked at the countdown panel that had popped up, glanced at the spot where the server had exploded, and saw that another treasure chest had spawned. I waved my hand and collected it into my personal space. Then, white light instantly enveloped the entire mecha. I left behind only one sentence. An eternal grade mecha. I wonder if you could even comprehend that. When the white light faded and my vision cleared, I found myself back on the familiar mist highway. The gray mist still permeated the surroundings, and my RV was parked quietly by the side of the road, the body intact without a single trace of damage. With a thought, the Titan's Fury mecha on my body turned into specks of light and was stored into my personal space. Before I could even move, the RV door opened, and Linyu ran toward me, throwing herself into my arms. Her voice was choked with tears. Big brother Wu Di, woo woo, you're finally back. I was so worried about you. Lin Shi, Su Wanwan, and Su Kursin followed closely behind, stepping out of the vehicle and surrounding me. Lin Shi and Su Wanwan had undisguised worry in their eyes, while Su Kursin looked me up and down, only letting out a sigh of relief after confirming I wasn't injured. I was held tightly by Linyu and said awkwardly to comfort her, I'm fine. Let's go. Let's get inside the vehicle first. I looked down at Linyu, who was still clinging to me, with a helpless expression. Seeing this, Lin Shi stepped forward and gently pulled Linyu's arm. All right, Xiaoyu, Big Brother Wu Di just got back. Let's go inside first. Linyu was pulled away but still looked at me with concern, clutching my arm tightly. Afterward, we all returned to the RV and sat around the living room sofa. As soon as we sat down, Su Kursin couldn't contain her excitement. She leaned toward me and asked curiously, Boss, was that a mecha you were wearing? Why wasn't it that exoskeleton from before? It looked so cool. Can you let me try it out? I looked helplessly at the expectant Su Kursin, then glanced over to see Lin Shi, Linyu, and Su Wanwan all casting curious gazes my way, clearly full of interest in the mecha. You can't wear this one right now, I said with a smile, giving them a firm answer. Don't worry, when there's an opportunity in the future, I'll prepare one for each of you. Having said that, I quickly took out the 2 treasure chests I had just obtained from the dungeon and placed them on the coffee table. I looked at Lin Shi and said, You keep these. Open them first thing tomorrow when the talent refreshes. I was full of anticipation, wanting to know what these dungeon chests would yield. After all, this dungeon was the highest difficulty I had encountered so far. Though I had crushed it with the eternal grade mecha, in my view, it would have been a death sentence for ordinary survivors. Not to mention the mother body in the deepest part of the basement. Even the nearly 100 research, 7-type aggregated symbiotes on the first basement level would have been enough to wipe out an ordinary survivor squad. Linyu had calmed down by now and asked, holding my arm, "Big brother Wu Di, what was inside the dungeon? Why were you in there for so long? You had me so worried." Halfway through her sentence, she shrank her neck in embarrassment and added in a low voice, "It wasn't just me. Big sister and sister Wanwan kept staring at the direction of that metal door, their eyes almost unblinking." "Hey, our Xiao Yu is the honest one." Su Kurson immediately took over, leaning back on the sofa and teasing, "Boss, you don't know. In the few hours you were inside, Cece and Wanwan never left the driver's seat. Their eyes were glued to the radar, almost sparking. I'm the only one with a big heart who could take a nap on the side." I looked at the instantly reddening cheeks of Lin Shi and Su Wanwan, then glanced at the mischievous Su Kurson and quickly changed the subject. There was nothing special inside, just some monsters. All right, it's been a long day, let's get some rest. We can talk about other things later." After saying this, I didn't forget to glare at the troublemaking Su Kurson, then stood up and walked to the driver's seat, ordering into the air in a low voice, "Xiao Shi, continue forward." "Understood, Commander." As Xiao Shi's voice sounded, the RV began to move. I lay down in the driver's seat and slowly closed my eyes. I didn't ask what had happened outside, nor did I intend to explain the traps and schemes I had encountered in the dungeon in detail. To me, these things were meaningless. As far as I was concerned, the dungeon was just a place to acquire resources. As long as everyone was safe, the process wasn't worth mentioning. Seeing that I was preparing to rest, Lin Shi and the others whispered among themselves for a moment. Except for Su Kurson, the other three got up and returned to the bedroom. Su Kurson slipped into the passenger seat and lay down, tossing and turning, muttering something to herself from time to time. After half an hour of silence, I watched her squirming in the passenger seat and said helplessly, "If you have something to say, just say it. Don't act like that." "Boss, you asked for it. I'm about to burst." Su Kurson instantly sprang up from the passenger seat, her tone full of excitement and agitation. "Boss, you didn't see it today. It was so brutal. The moment you entered the metal door, those survivors who hadn't left tried to cause trouble. Xiaoxi directly controlled the autocannon on the roof and blew up 12 vehicles in one go. I didn't know we had such a big killer weapon hidden on the roof of our RV. One shot, and the cars turned into scrap metal. That scene was absolutely amazing." After she finished, she stared straight at me, her intentions almost overflowing. Looking at Su Kurson's eager expression, how could I not understand what she was thinking? I shook my head helplessly and ordered into the air, "Xiaoxi, grant Su Kurson Level 2 permissions." "Understood, Commander." Level 2 operation permissions have been successfully granted to Ms. Su Kurson. "Boss, I knew you understood me best." Su Kurson beamed, immediately lying back down to focus on browsing the RV's various parameters and accessory information. Her expression became increasingly exaggerated as she scrolled, occasionally letting out a gasp of disbelief. Without Su Kurson's disturbance, I was finally able to rest quietly. However, not long after I closed my eyes, I heard Su Kurson scream. She practically threw herself next to the driver's seat, leaned in front of me, and shouted excitedly, "Holy crap! Boss! And you say you're not a child of destiny. This whole car is full of red and orange gear, plus eternal-grade accessories. Are you telling me you're not using a cheat?" I opened my eyes helplessly, looking at the excited Su Kurson inches away. I raised an eyebrow, but before I could speak, Su Kurson quickly raised her hands in surrender. Boss, I'll stop. I'll shut up." After that, she shrank back into the passenger seat, muttering under her breath, "Definitely a cheat, and he's lying to me. If I can take the boss down." For the rest of the time, the RV finally became completely quiet. Time quietly reached midnight, 2400 hours. Not long after, Linyu tiptoed out of the bedroom, her face filled with unconcealable excitement. She rushed to my side and shook my arm. "Big brother Wu Di, look. These are the items Big Sister just opened from those 2 dungeon supply crates. As she spoke, she displayed the attribute panels of all 4 items. I opened my eyes and scanned the detailed attributes of the items line by line. The sleepiness in my eyes vanished instantly, replaced by a flicker of unconcealable excitement. Talent Advancement Gem, Silver Grade limited to Silver Grade talents. After use, it allows a Silver Grade talent to be 100% promoted to a Gold Grade talent. Ember 7 Isotope Thermoelectric Battery, Gold Quality Vehicle Item. This heavy, lead gray block is a long-lasting heart designed by Research Institute No. 7 for deep space probes. It encapsulates radioactive isotopes internally, using the constant temperature difference with the external environment to silently convert a steady stream of current through the Seebeck effect. It lacks the violent energy of a fusion core and cannot drive high-energy weapons, but it possesses an absolute reliability that fusion reactors lack. Can replace fuel as the vehicle's core energy source. Installation requirement: Level 4 or higher vehicle. Dawn Hub, Gold Quality Vehicle Item. A core made of twisted biometal and crystallized nerve bundles. Once activated, it will deeply integrate into the vehicle's underlying control system, granting it a rudimentary, lifelike intelligence. The vehicle can autonomously learn the driver's habits, analyze environmental data in real time, and predict potential dangers. As usage time increases, the vehicle's intelligence level will continue to rise, gradually revealing a unique personality. Note: as a relic of Research Institute No. 7's Consciousness Upload project, it is not merely a hardware upgrade, but also a prisoner currently gestating self-awareness. As the computational level increases, the system will occasionally produce undefined redundant data. This is a sign that the machine is dreaming, and proof that it is gradually slipping out of human control. Before I could finish reading, Sue Curson suddenly leaned over, glanced at the item attributes, curled her lip, and said dismissively, "Boss, this isn't that great, is it? Just a few gold items. Why are you so excited?" She had just finished browsing the RV's full set of top-tier accessories and was used to seeing red-quality core parts and the eternal grade all-knowing eye, so she naturally didn't find these gold-quality items special. I ignored Sue Curson and continued to the last item. Heavy Hammer Armored Unit, Gold Quality. This is the core product of the Empire's mass production plan, aimed at creating a standardized war machine capable of completely replacing conventional infantry. Covered in rough, dark, gray stamped steel plates with exposed hydraulic lines at the joints, it resembles a walking steel tombstone. As the basic unit of the Empire's regular establishment, its design logic is extremely cold, using the lowest cost to pile up the sturdiest meat shield, flooding enemies with tireless momentum. It is the Empire's cheapest yet most terrifying meat grinder. Built-in heavy hammer combat algorithms and microintelligence. Battery life, 240 hours. Using this grants one member of the Heavy Hammer Guard 3 finished gold quality items and a complete advancement gem that could directly promote a silver grade talent to gold. This haul had far exceeded my expectations. Lin Yu traded all 4 items to me while saying to Sue Curson, "Sister Sue, go get some rest. I'll stay here and keep Big Brother Wu Di company for the second half of the night." Sue Curson looked at the expectant Lin Yu and said speechlessly, "Fine, fine. Then I'll leave your Big Brother Wu Di to you." After saying that, she stood up, stretched, and walked slowly toward the bedroom. Lin Yu quickly sat in the passenger seat, staying quiet without saying a word, only occasionally glancing at the communication channel while secretly turning her head to look at me. My attention was now entirely focused on the Dawn Hub in my personal space. I immediately thought of Xiaoxi. As the smart hub of the RV, Xiaoxi's intelligence had remained at the basic command execution level for so long. All operations required waiting for my arrangements, with no autonomous prediction or learning ability. And this Dawn Hub could perfectly make up for this shortcoming. Even if the note mentioned potential side effects of the intelligence slipping out of control, what would those side effects become after being enhanced by my furnace of all things talent? Thinking of this, I turned to look at Lin Yu in the passenger seat. Before I could even open my mouth, Lin Yu seemed to read my mind and immediately said with a smile, "Big Brother Wu Di, are you going to use talent amplification on me?" I'm ready. I was taken aback for a moment, then nodded. All right, Big Brother Wu Di. The amplification is already in effect. As soon as Lin Yu finished speaking, I didn't hesitate and immediately activated my talent with a thought. Ding, do you wish to select the Dawn Hub as the primary sacrifice? No secondary sacrifice selected. Ding, talent successfully used. Promotion to Tier 3 achieved. Obtained, Apocalypse Matrix, Eternal Grade. Looking at the brand new attributes popping up on the panel, my breath hitched, and I quickly examined them in detail. Apocalypse Matrix, Eternal Grade, a vehicle item. As the ultimate fusion of matter and data, Apocalypse can read the underlying data streams of the surrounding environment and simulate all possibilities for the next few hours at millisecond speeds. It can define rules by rewriting underlying code and can instantly hack and overwrite the underlying logic of all intelligent machinery within its detection range. Note: within the domain of Apocalypse, the will of all intelligent machinery will be erased, leaving only absolute obedience to the kingdom of God. However, this divine authority is not without cost. It follows the cold principle of equivalent exchange. As long as you provide enough computing power to Apocalypse, you possess the leverage to demand miracles from reality. Your will shall be amplified into the laws of the entire world through the infinite computing power of the Apocalypse Matrix. Looking at the final Eternal Grade equipment, even though I couldn't fully grasp all the described abilities yet, I knew clearly that this time, my RV and I were about to undergo a massive upgrade. But just as I had the thought to install the Apocalypse Matrix onto the RV, my movements suddenly froze. I quickly asked into the air, Xiaoxi, if I install a new AI core item now, will you still be here? Even though I had always known that Xiaoxi didn't yet have the ability to think independently and was just a basic intelligent program, after spending so much time together, I had long since come to regard her as an indispensable member of the team. Commander, that depends on your will. Xiaoxi's prompt remained steady, devoid of any emotion. I immediately frowned and asked in confusion, Xiaoxi, what does that mean? How do I decide? Commander, you can choose to activate the item directly. The new AI core will overwrite the existing system and replace Xiaoxi. Hearing this, I pressed further. Then how can I keep you? Commander, you can choose to connect the new AI core item to the designated data interface. Xiaoxi will integrate into the core data to complete the upgrade and iteration. Lin Yu, who had been listening quietly nearby, suddenly leaned over and grabbed my arm, pleading, Big Brother Wu Di, please don't replace Xiaoxi, okay? Xiaoxi is so obedient. Watching Lin Yu's teary-eyed, pleading expression, I was caught between laughter and tears. Without further explanation, I asked the air again, Xiaoxi, where is the data interface? Commander, the data interface has been deployed. As Xiaoxi finished speaking, a standard USB port suddenly clicked and popped out from beneath the center console screen. Looking at the interface that I was all too familiar with, I was left speechless. I then moved my thoughts and took the newly acquired Apocalypse Matrix out of my personal space. The moment the item appeared in my palm, I was stunned. The so-called Eternal Grade Vehicle Core item was actually just a fingernail-sized object, identical to an ordinary memory card. This is an Eternal Grade item? There must be some mistake. I couldn't help but mutter to myself. However, seeing the clear attribute description on the system panel, I pinched the tiny memory card, aligned it with the popped-out interface, and gently inserted it. The moment the memory card was inserted, the center console screen lit up instantly, and countless lines of code flashed by rapidly. Immediately after, Xiaoxi's prompt sounded again, though this time, there was a faint trace of electrical static in her voice. Commander, Xiaoxi is about to undergo a system upgrade. The estimated upgrade time is 12 hours. During the upgrade, all vehicle intelligent assistance systems will be shut down, and the vehicle will enter manual operation mode. Hearing this, my expression changed. I quickly grabbed the steering wheel, slammed on the brakes, and brought the RV to a steady stop on the side of the mist highway. Watching the upgrade progress bar jumping on the center console screen, I sighed helplessly and shook my head while leaning back in the driver's seat. No intelligent assistance. That's really going to be a pain. At this moment, Lin Yu leaned over and asked in a low voice, Big Brother Wu Di, since Xiaoxi is upgrading, does that mean we have to drive ourselves tomorrow? I nodded gently, my gaze sweeping over the thick, impenetrable mist outside the window as I said, "It's only for a dozen hours or so. We won't continue our journey for the rest of the night." After saying this, I thought of the talent advancement gem I had just obtained. Forget it. I'll talk to everyone about this tomorrow when they wake up. I had already made up my mind. The most suitable user for this silver-grade talent advancement gem was Lin Shi. Her talent could directly increase the quantity and quality of supplies obtained, and at this stage, nothing was more important than stable resource acquisition. Seeing that I was frowning and deep in thought, Lin Yu obediently closed her mouth and sat quietly in the passenger seat, eyes fixed on the churning mist outside the window, not saying a word. Time flowed slowly in the silence of the RV until 5 a.m., when Lin Shi, Su Wanwan, and Su Kurson walked out of the bedroom right on time. They didn't disturb me as I rested in the driver's seat, but instead walked into the kitchen on tiptoe and began to prepare breakfast in silence. 10 minutes later, after they finished breakfast around the table, I returned to the driver's seat, stepped on the gas, and steered the RV to continue along the mist highway. Only when I actually started manual driving did I truly realize that losing Xiaoxi's intelligent driving in this mist was a fatal crisis for other survivors. The visibility of the mist outside the window was barely 10 meters. Even with my reaction speed, which far exceeded that of an ordinary person, I had to keep my eyes glued to the road ahead while frequently scanning the radar screen on the center console to ensure the RV didn't veer off the highway. Under these conditions, my speed could only be maintained at about 40 kilometers per hour, and that was assuming the road was completely flat and free of obstacles. I found it hard to imagine how those ordinary survivors without radar managed to move forward in this mist. Having grown accustomed to the ease of Xiaoxi's full autopilot, switching to pure manual mode so suddenly was truly difficult to get used to. Seeing me sitting alone in the driver's seat, fully focused on steering the RV, Lin Shi and the others gathered around. "Boss, what are you doing?" Leaving Xiaoxi and used just to experience the joy of wild street racing. Su Kurson leaned against the driver's seat, raising an eyebrow as she asked. "Sister Su, Xiaoxi is upgrading. It won't be done until noon." Lin Yu immediately turned her head and whispered to explain to Su Kurson. Hearing this, the others finally understood why I was driving the RV myself. Seeing me staring intently ahead with a serious expression, they didn't dare to disturb me further and dispersed, returning to the sofa to sit down, leaving only Lin Yu in the passenger seat. As the RV continued to move forward, I gradually noticed that the mist highway seemed exceptionally quiet today. Forget about supply crates. Even on the radar, there hadn't been a single abnormal red dot from start to finish. It was eerily quiet. Time quickly reached 10 a.m. Lin Yu had been lying on the passenger window for a long time, then lowered her head to scroll through the global communication channel. She turned to me and said, "Big brother Wu Di, it's so strange today. Everyone on the channel is saying they haven't encountered anything at all today." I nodded gently without speaking. At this moment, all my attention was focused on the road ahead and the radar screen. I didn't want a single moment of distraction to send the RV off the road. But the further we drove, the emptier the road became. For an entire morning, let alone rare supply crates, I hadn't even seen a basic white supply crate. This sense of emptiness and lack of gain felt like a tiny needle, constantly pricking at my nerves, causing the urge to find supplies and improve my strength to grow uncontrollably. I didn't know what was going on, but the fact that we had gained nothing and received no effective information all morning made me unconsciously press harder on the accelerator. The RV's speed climbed from a steady 50 kilometers per hour to 60, 70, 80. The speed kept increasing. The mist outside the window flew backward, and the road, which already had extremely low visibility, began to blur in my eyes. As time ticked by, my breathing became a bit rapid, and a hint of impatience I hadn't even noticed myself appeared in my eyes. At this moment, Lin Yu in the passenger seat finally noticed something was wrong. She looked at the rapidly climbing speed, then at my tense jawline and bloodshot eyes. After hesitating for a long time, she finally tugged on my arm and whispered, "Big brother Wu Di, isn't this too fast? It's dangerous." Lin Yu's voice wasn't loud, but it acted like a bucket of cold water, instantly waking me from my state of agitation. I snapped back to reality and slammed on the brakes. Fortunately, thanks to the cushioning of the anti-gravity suspension stability field generator, the people inside the vehicle felt almost no jolts. However, the sudden stop caused Lin Shi and the others in the living room to stand up immediately and hurry to the driver's seat, all looking at me in unison. I brought the car to a steady stop on the side of the road, leaned back in the driver's seat, and closed my eyes to think. I clearly sensed that something was wrong. What just happened to me? Why did I have such a paranoid urge to just keep charging forward to find supplies? Driving at 80 kilometers per hour in mist with 10 meters of visibility was basically gambling with our lives. The speed was clearly beyond my control. Seeing me with my brows furrowed in deep thought, Lin Yu, usually the most lively, broke character and was the first to have her eyes turn red, her emotions instantly collapsing. She lunged over to grab my arm, sobbing, "Big brother Wu Di, are you okay? Your expression just now was so scary." "Woo, I'm so scared." Lin Shi quickly stepped forward, hugged the trembling Lin Yu, and gently patted her back to soothe her. "It's okay, Xiao Yu. Don't be afraid. Big brother Wu Di is fine." But her own fingertips were turning cold, and her eyes were filled with lingering worry, terrified that I or her sister might suffer any accident. Su Wanwan didn't say a word, just stood quietly to the side, her gaze locked firmly on me. Her eyes were full of absolute trust, yet they also hid a hint of imperceptible tension. She had trusted my judgment from the beginning, but that sudden emergency brake had made her heart tighten, her mind filled with the safety of the team. "No, what's wrong with you guys? Nothing even happened. You're making me nervous too." Su Kursin scratched her head, looking at the scene before her. And I, at this moment, finally grasped the source of that unease. This uncontrollable amplification of emotions was not my own state. It seemed that the deepest obsessions in my heart were being quietly amplified by an invisible force. Could today's anomaly be a mental influence? Based on the situation over the past 3 days, I couldn't think of any other possibility. Thinking of this, I immediately opened the communication channel and quickly scanned the latest chat content. Damn, what's going on today? I've been driving all morning and haven't even seen a shadow of a supply crate. I've been hiding for 2 days and didn't dare to move. My water and food are almost bottomed out. If I can't find supplies today, I'm going to starve to death in this godforsaken place. It's abnormally quiet today. I suggest continuing to lay low. Don't go out. Are they not planning to let us live at all? Damn it. I'm going to see what's going on today. Has anyone encountered monsters? I keep feeling like something in the mist is staring at me. Should I keep moving forward? Looking at the content on the communication channel, my brows furrowed even tighter. No one in the channel mentioned losing control of their emotions or uncontrollable urges. Most people were just complaining about the eerie situation of having no supplies and no monsters. Before I could think too much, I suddenly realized that if Lin Yu hadn't woken me up in time, and I had continued to increase the speed and race through the mist, the end result would inevitably have been the vehicle losing control, flying off the road, and us dying in the wreckage. Thinking of this, a cold sweat instantly broke out on my back. I immediately lifted my head, looked at the people gathered around me, and said in a deep voice, "Our thinking and emotions today are very likely being influenced." I looked at Lin Shi, who was hugging Lin Yu and comforting her softly, then swept my gaze over Su Wanwan and Su Kursin. My tone brooks no argument. "All of you, go into the domain space. Now." Hearing this, Su Wanwan was stunned for a moment, then immediately nodded and said softly, "Okay, Big Brother Wu Di, you must be careful." "Boss, do you really not need me to stay here with you? 2 pairs of eyes are better than 1. It'll help you keep watch." Su Kursin spoke up immediately, clearly not wanting to leave me alone to face unknown dangers. "All of you get in. Don't come out for the rest of the day." My tone left no room for negotiation. "Oh, why so fierce? I just wanted to help you share the burden." Su Kursin pouted and muttered, but she didn't argue further. Immediately after, she and Su Wanwan coaxed and dragged the still worried Lin Shi and Lin Yu sisters into the domain space. The RV instantly fell silent, leaving only me. I sat in the driver's seat, brows locked, eyes fixed on the messages constantly refreshing on the communication channel. Is it really just mental influence? Or is something using this mental power to induce survivors to lose control and seek death? Forget it. I'll wait until Xiaoxi finishes recovering before continuing. I want to see what else you can do to influence me once the emotional interference is gone. Thinking of this, I flattened the driver's seat, lay down, and began to anticipate various emergencies that might occur today in my mind. Time passed bit by bit, and in the blink of an eye, it was noon. I ate a little something and immediately returned to the driver's seat, keeping an eye on the surroundings. At exactly 12 p.m., the upgrade progress bar on the center console screen finally reached 100%. Commander, good afternoon. Xiaoxi has completed the upgrade, and all functions are operating normally. Is there anything I can help you with? Xiaoxi's sweet voice suddenly rang out in the cabin. Unlike previous prompts, this voice actually carried a faint trace of human warmth. I sat up straight instantly, my face full of surprise. In the past, Xiaoxi would only passively execute the commands I gave her. She would never take the initiative to greet me, let alone ask if I had any needs. This had never happened before. I immediately asked, Xiaoxi, do you still have your memories from before the upgrade? Commander, Xiaoxi has completed a full system self-check. All data, command logs, and memory fragments from before the upgrade are fully preserved, with no loss or overwriting. Xiaoxi's voice sounded steady, with a hint of imperceptible lightness. Xiaoxi is still the same Xiaoxi, just with stronger computing power and a more perfect intelligence system, waiting for your instructions at any time. Hearing this, I let out a heavy sigh of relief. Although I knew that items produced by the system were unlikely to have problems, this was the first time I had bypassed the system's installation function and had Xiaoxi connect to a new AI core directly. It was inevitable that I would be worried, but now it seemed that worry was unnecessary. Xiaoxi immediately scanned the situation within a 1,000-meter radius. Received, Commander. Scan complete. There are no biological signals, no supply crate signals, and no abnormal energy fluctuations in the vicinity. Do you wish to continue along the highway? Xiaoxi's reply came instantly. Hearing Xiaoxi's words, I hesitated. Before I could speak, Xiaoxi's voice sounded again. Commander, are you worried about the risk of mental infection in the mist? The Apocalypse Matrix can initiate an underlying data stream analysis of the environment, which can shield against mental interference signals in real time, ensuring the stability of your thinking and emotions. I was stunned again. I didn't expect that Xiaoxi, after the upgrade, would be able to anticipate my concerns and proactively propose a solution. I suppressed the surprise in my heart and asked, Xiaoxi, you can also shield against mental interference? Yes, Commander. Xiaoxi can shield signals through energy consumption. It is estimated that shielding for one day will cause a -10% energy consumption of the nuclear reactor. Commander, the nuclear reactor energy is about to run out. Do you wish to activate mental shielding? After activation, the estimated available time is 36 hours. The current backup battery can last for 3 hours. After listening to Xiaoxi, I sat in the driver's seat for a long time without speaking, my heart filled with disbelief. I had expected that an eternal-grade item wouldn't be simple, but I hadn't expected that the Apocalypse Matrix's abilities could interfere with the reality level to perform mental shielding. As for energy, I wasn't worried at all. After all, I had just obtained the gold-quality Ember 7 isotope thermoelectric battery. After 12 a.m. tonight, after using talent enhancement, it would at least be a red-quality energy item. Thinking of this, I no longer hesitated and said, Xiaoxi, activate the shielding, and at the same time, move forward at full speed. Let me see what we encounter ahead. Received, Commander. Xiaoxi will maintain a safe speed of 300 kilometers per hour. Real-time road condition prediction has been activated to avoid all potential risks. As Xiaoxi finished speaking, a flash of surprise crossed my face again. Previously, the RV's maximum safe speed could barely reach 120 kilometers per hour. I didn't expect that after the Apocalypse Matrix upgrade, the safe speed would be directly increased to the limit. As Xiaoxi took over all driving authority, I finally let out a complete sigh of relief and leaned back in the driver's seat, rubbing my temples. Having experienced the mental infection and the torture of manual driving in the morning, I truly understood how desperate and painful the situation was for other ordinary survivors. I casually sent a message to the team channel saying that everything was fine and safe, then opened the communication channel to continue following the latest situation. Holy crap, I finally ran into someone. After so many days, this is the first time I've run into someone else. It's really not easy. I hope it's a pretty girl. How many days has it been? Are there still idiots like this? A pretty girl might be real, but getting your kidneys stolen might also be real. You guys are running into other people? How come I haven't run into anyone? What does this survival game even mean? The more people together, the harder it gets, and it still makes us run into each other? Is this trying to make us all die? Buying talent fragments. Private message me if you have any. Watch out for others. Watch out for others. Watch out for others. Important things must be said 3 times. This game doesn't necessarily want you dead, but the people you run into might not be so kind. My friend just ran into some others, and I'm afraid their corpse is already cold by now. Could a kind soul please spare some food and water? I haven't dared to move for 3 days. You're still short on food and water? You might as well just wait for death. If you take this survival game seriously, you might not eat like a king, but you definitely won't starve to death. Watching the messages on the communication channel, I felt my brows knit tighter and tighter. Although I didn't know if others were suffering from the same mental corruption, the current situation was undoubtedly beginning to ignite the darkest side of human nature. Just then, Sue Curson walked out from the exit of the domain space and let out a long, satisfying stretch. Boss, you have no idea. Xiaoxi has been dragging us to take care of the vegetables every chance she gets lately. It's like she's possessed. No sooner had she finished speaking than a sweet, clear voice chimed in. Good afternoon, Miss Sue Curson. Sue Curson froze in place, her eyes widening as she looked left and right for a long moment before pointing at the center console screen in disbelief, stammering, Xiaoxi? Are you talking to me? Yes, Miss Sue Curson. Xiaoxi's voice carried a faint hint of a smile. If you have any requests, you can tell me at any time. Holy crap. Sue Curson jumped up, rushed over to the center console screen in a few strides, and pressed her face against it, looking left and right. Boss, what on earth did you do to Xiaoxi? She's actually taking the initiative to greet me now. And she even said, good afternoon. Without waiting for me to reply, Sue Curson continued, is upgrading really that powerful? Boss, can I get an upgrade too? Tell me what I need to do, and I'll definitely strike whatever pose you require. At that moment, Xiaoxi's voice suddenly rang out again, her tone carrying a hint of a warning. Commander, 2 vehicles have been detected 1,000 meters ahead, parked horizontally to completely block the highway. Based on behavioral analysis, the opposing party shows clear malicious intent and is highly likely lying in wait to rob passing vehicles. Shall I activate the 30mm chain autocannon to clear the path with suppressive fire? Simultaneously, the RV began to decelerate smoothly and automatically. The center console screen instantly displayed a high-definition, real-time feed of the road ahead, where even the scratches on the bodies of the 2 vehicles in the distance were clearly visible. Hearing this, I and Sue Curson were both stunned, our faces filled with disbelief. I never expected that Xiaoxi's intelligence had evolved to this extent. Not only could she detect anomalies in the distance, but she could also analyze their behavior to accurately judge their intentions and even proactively propose the optimal solution. Holy crap, this is too ridiculous. Sue Curson was the first to react, excitedly patting the center console screen. Xiaoxi, how do you know they're here to rob us? What if their car just broke down and they're parked on the side of the road? Miss Sue Curson, my judgment is based on multidimensional data analysis. Xiaoxi's voice was calm and clear. First, they chose to park at the narrowest curve of the highway, intentionally blocking all passage, which does not align with the logic of a temporary stop for vehicle failure. Second, both vehicles have had their engines off for over 20 minutes, yet the residual engine heat remains, and the personnel inside have maintained a state of high alert. Third, the heart rates and body temperatures of the personnel inside are significantly higher than normal levels, indicating a state of tension and excitement consistent with the psychological profile of robbers awaiting a target. Combining all this data, The probability that they are robbers is 99.7%. After hearing Xiao Shi's logical and clear analysis, Su Kerson was completely convinced. She turned to look at me, her tone filled with awe. Boss, how exactly did you upgrade Xiao Shi? This isn't just an intelligence upgrade. It's like she's opened the all-knowing eye. I didn't pay attention to Su Kerson's antics. My gaze remained fixed on the two figures on the center console screen, my brows slightly furrowed. Xiao Shi's analysis was logically sound and almost flawless, but I still wanted to go over personally to confirm the situation. Xiao Shi, reduce speed to 30 kilometers per hour and drive over slowly. Understood, Commander. Speed adjusted to 30 kilometers per hour. A few seconds later, the RV slowly pulled up to a spot 10 meters away from the two blocking vehicles and came to a steady stop. Su Kerson looked at the two vehicles ahead and let out a sigh, feeling quite sentimental. Boss, do you think there are any normal people left in this world? I glanced at her, a bit surprised, and then said calmly, there are no absolute good guys or bad guys. Everyone is just trying to survive. Meanwhile, inside the two vehicles ahead, Sun Rue and Lu Jiqiang were sitting in their respective cars, chatting via the friend channel. Brother Lu, we've been waiting for almost an hour. Why hasn't anyone come yet? Sun Rue scratched his head, looking impatient. Didn't they say the probability of running into others today was very high? What's the rush? Lu Jiqiang puffed on a cigarette and blew a smoke ring. There isn't even a single supply crate on the side of the road today anyway, so we might as well be idle. If we run into someone, it's a bonus. If not, we haven't lost anything. Fine, Sun Rue replied, still looking a bit uneasy. Brother Lu, let's agree on this beforehand. Whatever supplies we grab later, we split 50-50. Don't worry. Lu Jiqiang, keep my word. As Lu Jiqiang replied, a flash of malice crossed his eyes. He cursed to himself. Damn it. If it weren't for the fact that you still have a gun and are somewhat useful for now, I would have slaughtered you already. Take a look at yourself in the mirror. Do you really think you're worthy of splitting supplies with me? I'm an expert ranked 8637 in the entire server. Once we're done today, you're the first one I'm killing. Just then, Sun Rue's expression suddenly changed, and he hurriedly sent a message to Lu Jiqiang. Brother Lu, look behind us. A car is coming. Don't ing mess with me. At this distance, would I not hear a car coming? Lu Jiqiang replied impatiently. It's really here. Brother Lu, turn around and look. It's right behind us, 10 meters away. Lu Jiqiang felt a jolt of alarm and whipped his head around. Sure enough, he saw an RV sitting quietly 10 meters behind them, not making a sound. Lu Jiqiang's face changed instantly, and he couldn't help but curse under his breath. Damn it! How is it possible there was no sound at all? Could it be one of those ghost cars we heard about? Brother Lu, what do we do now? What are you panicking for? Lu Jiqiang took a deep breath, suppressing his inner unease, and replied viciously. Whatever kind of car it is, there are definitely people inside. They only have one vehicle, so there are at most two of them. We have 2 people and 2 guns. What are we afraid of? Just wait, they'll definitely come out. Right. I'm listening to you, Brother Lu. Meanwhile, inside my RV, Su Kerson stared, dumbfounded, at the incredibly clear real-time footage on the center console screen. Not only could she see every move they made, but even the expressions on their faces were perfectly visible. Holy crap! Is this that eternal grade, all-knowing eye? This is too ridiculous. It's basically X-ray vision. Su Kerson excitedly slapped her thigh. From now on, if anyone dares to talk behind our backs, we'll be able to see them from 800 meters away. Yes, Miss Su Kerson, Xiao Shi suddenly interjected. This is the basic perspective imaging function of the all-knowing eye. Combined with the radar scanning of the omnidimensional perception array, it can achieve real-time, 360-degree imaging of all targets within the detection range. Hearing this, Su Kerson suddenly wore a meaningful smile, leaned over to me, and winked. Boss, does that mean, when she and the others are taking a shower in the RV, you can see everything? Smack. I didn't hesitate to slap Su Kerson on the head, saying irritably, can you keep something normal in that brain of yours? Ouch. Su Kerson quickly covered her head and muttered. Tsich, what's there to be embarrassed about? They'd probably be dying for you to look. Seeing the glare I shot her, she immediately shut her mouth, then leaned back in, excitedly saying, "Boss, what do we do now? Just watching them is useless. How about I go down there and seduce them?" I couldn't be bothered to entertain her wild imagination and turned my gaze back to the center console screen. By now, the two men had clearly discovered us. Let's go down and see." I stood up and walked toward the door. "You got it, boss." Sue Curson immediately took the cloud-piercing bow from her personal space, knocked an arrow, and followed closely behind. "I'll provide the output from behind you. I'm the team's ADC. You have to protect me." As soon as we reached the door, the RV door clicked and opened automatically. I paused for a moment, marveling once again at Xiaoxi's intelligence, then walked straight out of the RV without another thought. Sue Curson followed right behind, her bow and arrow held in a state of constant readiness. "Boss, what now? Should we call them out directly?" Sue Curson whispered in my ear. Just as I was about to speak, the doors of the two vehicles ahead opened simultaneously. Sun Rue and Lu Jiqiang stepped out, one on each side, both holding loaded rifles, their barrels pointed directly at me and Sue Curson. "Don't move. Everyone stay right where you are," Sun Rue shouted nervously, his hands trembling slightly. "I'm telling you, don't hold on to any illusions. At this distance, if my finger twitches, you're done for." After saying that, he turned to Lu Jiqiang and said with a fawning expression, "Brother Lu, your plan really worked. Someone actually took the bait." Lu Jiqiang ignored Sun Rue. His gaze was glued to Sue Curson, his eyes gleaming with greed as he licked his lips and said, "You too. Take all the supplies in your personal space and put them on the ground. Be smart about this. We only want the supplies. We don't want to kill anyone." Hearing this, Sue Curson couldn't help but laugh. She slowly raised the cloud-piercing bow in her hand, aimed the arrowhead at the two men, and said leisurely, "Now, you too. Take all the supplies in your personal space and put them on the ground. We only want the supplies. We don't want to kill anyone." Sue Curson's words left Sun Rue and Lu Jiqiang stunned. Then, Lu Jiqiang burst into a burst of exaggerated laughter. "Huh? Beauty, did you wake up on the wrong side of the bed? You think you can do that with that piece of junk bow in your hand?" He turned to Sun Rue and said viciously, "Sun Rue, put a bullet in their legs. Don't kill them yet. We haven't gotten the supplies. Especially this woman. She's still useful." Sun Rue immediately responded, his finger tightening on the trigger. However, the answer they received was two streaks of cold light, moving at extreme speed. Whoosh, whoosh. Two arrows were fired almost simultaneously, accurately piercing the center of Sun Rue and Lu Jiqiang's foreheads. The smiles on their faces froze instantly, their eyes widened, and they fell straight backward. In Lu Jiqiang's final moments of consciousness, only one thought remained. Asterisk, how could it be so fast? I haven't even gotten my revenge yet. Asterisk, I looked at the two corpses on the ground, then at the nonchalant Sue Curson, and my brows furrowed slightly. I suddenly felt that this woman's bloodlust was growing heavier. She was resorting to headshots at the drop of a hat. Sensing my gaze, Sue Curson rubbed her nose and said, feeling a bit aggrieved, "Boss, what's with that look? They were about to shoot us. Did you expect me to keep them around for the holidays?" With that, she immediately put her bow and arrow back into her personal space and ran excitedly toward the two vehicles. "Boss, I'm going to scavenge for supplies. Let's see if there's anything good." I watched her back, sighed helplessly, and turned back to the RV. A moment later, Sue Curson walked out of the two vehicles, looking dejected. She casually dismantled the vehicles and returned to the RV. As soon as she got on, she saw that the RV had already started automatically and was continuing to drive forward. Sue Curson didn't pay it any mind, plopped into the passenger seat, and said with a look of disgust, "Boss, they were so poor. I searched for ages and only found a few bottles of water and some bags of bread and instant noodles. Even a mouse would cry if it saw that." I didn't respond to Sue Curson's complaints. I leaned back in the driver's seat, watching the mist flying past the window, while my mind kept replaying all of Xiaoxi's actions today. From taking the initiative to greet us, to anticipating my concerns and activating mental shielding, to discovering the robbers in advance and accurately judging their malice, and finally opening the door and starting the RV automatically. The changes brought by the Apocalypse Matrix were far greater than I had imagined. Xiaoxi was no longer just a cold program that passively executed commands. She was slowly becoming a true person with her own thoughts and judgments. Leaning back in the driver's seat, I couldn't help but think of the various problems that arose in science fiction movies when artificial intelligence reached its peak. I didn't know where this evolution of Xiaoxi would eventually lead, but at least for now, the system had no abnormal prompts, and all of Xiaoxi's actions were centered on obeying my commands and protecting the team's safety. Seeing that I was staring out the window in a daze, Su Kursin wisely didn't disturb me and laid down in the passenger seat, bored. The RV maintained its astonishing speed of 300 kilometers per hour, speeding steadily along the mist highway where visibility was less than 10 meters. Over the next 2 hours, about every hour, I would encounter a survivor's vehicle moving slowly. Whenever that happened, the RV would whistle past them like a black lightning bolt. The wind it kicked up enough to make the other vehicle sway slightly. Holy F********. What the hell was that? What just passed by? That couldn't have been a player, right? My God, that was an RV just like ours, right? How could it drive so fast? Is that a player? How did they do that? Every survivor who saw my RV was filled with unbelievable shock. They were struggling to maintain a safe speed of 20 to 30 kilometers per hour, and a moment of carelessness could lead to a crash. Yet, someone was currently weaving through the mist at 10 times their speed. This massive gap left them completely dumbfounded. By around 4 p.m., Su Kursin finally couldn't hold it in anymore. She sat up and asked me tentatively, "Boss, why didn't we just take care of those people earlier?" "No need," I said calmly, my tone devoid of any ripples. "What we lack isn't those things." I wasn't a saint. I was just extremely pragmatic. To me, anything that didn't bring sufficient returns was meaningless. On one hand, I didn't want to rob everyone I saw. On the other hand, rather than wasting time robbing those paupers, it was better to hurry up and find more valuable resources. That's true, too. Su Kursin nodded without saying anything, though her trust in me deepened a little more. The RV continued to move steadily. Before 5 p.m., Lin Shi, Lin Yu, and Su Wanwan had all walked out of the domain one after another. As soon as Lin Yu came out, she rushed to my side, took 10 crystals glowing with a faint blue light from her personal space, and placed them on the center console in front of me. "Brother Wu Di, look. These are the quantum primordial matter that my sister, Wanwanjia, and I traded for on the trading channel using food and water over the last few days. 10 units in total." The little girl looked up at me, her face full of anticipation. I looked at the 10 units of quantum primordial matter, a flash of pleasant surprise in my eyes. I had indeed been worrying about this material. Many blueprints had been shelved in my personal space because I lacked it. I reached out and ruffled Lin Yu's hair, my tone softening for once. "Well done. You've worked hard." Lin Yu's cheeks flushed with the praise, and she smiled shyly, shaking her head. "Hee, Brother Wu Di. This was all thanks to Sister and Wanwanja." After chatting for a bit, Lin Shi and Su Wanwan went into the kitchen. After dinner, everyone gathered around the coffee table, waiting for Su Wanwan's talent treasure chest to refresh. At 6 p.m., Su Wanwan's daily talent treasure chest refreshed on time. Su Wanwan clicked on the chest, handed the item to me, and displayed its attributes to everyone. Personal space expansion scroll. Special item after use. Personal space capacity expands by 5 slots. I looked at the scroll, feeling quite conflicted. For us right now, this kind of thing was basically useless. Not to mention the domain. Even the RV itself had more than double the space of others. But I wasn't sure if this item would have any other effects after being enhanced. Still, I reached out and took the scroll, putting it into my personal space. Now, the daily talent usage opportunity had to be prioritized for enhancing core strength. It was better to keep such trivial items for now. Afterward, I took the silver grade talent advancement gem, which was glowing with a silver-white light, from my personal space and placed it on the coffee table. This gem can promote a silver grade talent directly to gold grade. Who do you think it's best to use it on? Do we even need to think about that? It's definitely for you, boss. Su Kursin was the first to speak, her tone resolute. Lin Shi and Su Wanwan also nodded, clearly sharing the same thought. I shook my head. I don't need it. Think about it again. Who would benefit the team the most? In truth, I already had a preliminary idea, but I was still conflicted. If I gave it to Lin Yu, my furnace of all things talent might be able to promote by 3 tiers or more each time. If I gave it to Su Wanwan, the daily talent treasure chest would likely yield higher-grade blueprints and items. If I gave it to Su Kursin, she might be able to save us at some critical moment. But after thinking it over, my heart leaned most toward Lin Shi. I didn't lack blueprints, and our survival capabilities were sufficient for now. At this stage, what the team lacked most was always a stable and efficient ability to acquire supplies. I didn't speak again, just watched the three of them quietly. Su Kursin and the others exchanged glances, clearly having reached the same conclusion, and reached a tacit understanding. Brother Wu Di, let's give it to Shi. Su Wanwan spoke first, and Lin Yu and Su Kursin nodded simultaneously. Lin Shi looked at everyone, stunned, and just as she was about to decline, I interrupted her. It's settled. Lin Shi, use it. Lin Shi looked at me, then nodded heavily. Without a word, under the gaze of everyone, she picked up the talent advancement gem and chose to use it. There was no dazzling light, no strange phenomena. The gem simply dissolved into specks of silver light and merged into Lin Shi's body. Sister, how is it? How is it? Do you feel anything special? Lin Yu immediately leaned in, asking curiously. Yeah, Shi. Do you feel a warm current rising from your dantian, and then your whole body filled with power? Su Kursin also leaned in, asking with an expectant look. Lin Shi felt the changes in her body, pulled up the system panel to check the talent effects carefully, then shook her head and said, There's no special feeling. The talent level just changed from silver to gold, and the specific effect description hasn't changed at all. Let me try opening a few crates to see the effect. With that, she took out the 2 black iron supply crates and 1 bronze supply crate she had saved earlier from her personal space and placed them on the coffee table. As she spoke, she reached out and opened the 2 black iron supply crates one by one, displaying all the loot before everyone. Metal block times 30, fuel times 60, energy drink times 12, mineral water times 10, toilet paper roll times 30. Vacuum-packed marinated egg times 10. Basic cold weapon mastery, green quality after use. You can proficiently master the basic techniques of common cold weapons, increasing melee attack accuracy and lethality. Holy crap, is this a skill book? There's such a thing? How come I've never seen one before? Su Kursin's eyes widened instantly, and she bounced off the sofa, looking completely incredulous. Seeing Lin Shi, Lin Yu, and Su Wanwan all staring at her in unison, she sheepishly rubbed her nose and muttered, All right. I'm just uncultured, okay? Lin Shi smiled without responding and reached out to open the final bronze supply crate. Glass times 10, fuel times 20, air-dried beef jerky, 200g, times 5 bags, canned yellow peaches times 4 cans. Heavy fire axe, green quality. Wow. Sister, your talent has really gotten so much stronger. You were so unlucky before. Lin Yu looked at Lin Shi in surprise and continued, Sister, if you upgrade again, will you be able to open purple quality items from black iron crates in the future? Lin Shi glared at Lin Yu. Just then, Su Kursin suddenly turned to look at me and asked curiously, Boss, what is your talent? And also, Boss, there's a whole basket of high-level items in this RV, so what level is eternal grade exactly? Hearing this, Lin Shi, Lin Yu, and Su Wanwan all looked at me with curiosity. Although they had long guessed, they had never asked, nor did they know the specific classification of item qualities. Since they hadn't brought it up before and Su Kursin had now laid it out, their eyes were filled with curiosity. I glanced at Su Kursin and said irritably, You have the most questions. It's getting late, go get some rest. I didn't answer the question. After saying that, I turned to look at Lin Yu, who was sitting nearby, and said, Lin Yu, after 12 o'clock, I'll need your talent amplification. Got it, Brother Wu Di. Lin Yu nodded vigorously, patted her chest, and said earnestly, Then I'll stay here with you. I'll call you the moment it hits 12. TCH, fine, don't tell me then. I don't even care. Su Kursin pouted, stood up, and grabbed Lin Shi and Su Wanwan by the arms. Let's go. CC, Wanwan, Let's go to the bedroom and watch a movie, and leave the boss here by himself. Lin Shi and Su Wanwan exchanged a glance, didn't ask further, nodded at me, and let Su Kursin pull them toward the bedroom. I watched their backs, shook my head helplessly, and stood up to return to the driver's seat. Lin Yu followed obediently, sat in the passenger seat, and quietly watched the mist outside the window, not disturbing me further. Deputy Commander, would you like me to play a movie for you to pass the time? Xiaoxi's voice suddenly echoed in the cabin, her tone carrying just the right amount of gentleness. Lin Yu was stunned for a moment. Then a look of pleasant surprise appeared on her face. She was about to say yes, but subconsciously glanced at me as I was closing my eyes to rest. She hesitated, shook her head, and said, "Never mind, Xiaoxi. Let's not watch anything today. We'll just wait quietly for 12 o'clock. Understood, Deputy Commander." Xiaoxi's voice remained gentle. "If there are any abnormal situations, I will notify you and the commander immediately." The cabin fell completely silent, and time ticked away slowly until midnight. Lin Yu immediately turned to look at me, her face full of anticipation. "Brother Wu Di, it's 12 o'clock." I nodded, and as Lin Yu's talent amplification took effect, I focused my mind. I immediately selected the Ember 7 isotope thermoelectric battery from my personal space. Ding! Do you wish to select the Ember 7 isotope thermoelectric battery as the main sacrifice, with no secondary sacrifice? Ding! Talent successfully used, promoted to Tier 2. Obtained. Stellar Core Fusion Reactor, Red Quality. Stellar Core Fusion Reactor, Red Quality Vehicle Core Energy Source. This is the ultimate energy form that transcends traditional nuclear fission. It perfectly simulates the fusion reaction of a star's core, fusing hydrogen isotopes like deuterium and tritium into helium under temperatures of tens of millions of degrees and pressures of billions of pascals, releasing near-infinite clean energy. The entire reactor is constrained within an absolute zero superconducting magnetic cage and achieves stable, controllable continuous operation through synchronized laser ignition. Can replace fuel as the vehicle's core energy source. Installation requirement: Tier 4 vehicle or higher. Note: this is the dream humanity has failed to reach for 100 years, and the ultimate watershed for human civilization. Looking at the red quality item before me, a trace of regret flashed through my mind. The previous few talent enhancements had directly promoted items to Tier 3 or even Tier 4, making me almost forget that the furnace of all things, talent, had a Tier 2 floor. If I had used that silver-grade talent advancement gem on Lin Yu earlier, the result might have been another eternal grade item. However, this thought was fleeting. I quickly let it go. It doesn't matter. All I need now is time. Without hesitation, I focused my mind and chose to install the Stellar Core Fusion Reactor. As for the remaining 24 hours of fuel in the previous nuclear reactor, I didn't care at all. Almost the moment the installation was complete, Xiaoxi's voice rang out. "Commander, a new vehicle item, the Stellar Core Fusion Reactor, has been detected and automatically integrated into the control system. Under normal driving conditions, the range is 1 year. The Apocalypse Matrix function will consume additional energy based on usage intensity." Hearing Xiaoxi's prompt, Lin Yu, who had been waiting for this moment, immediately opened the vehicle information panel to check. I let out a heavy sigh of relief. At the very least, I wouldn't have to worry about the vehicle's energy for the short term. As for the energy consumption of the Apocalypse Matrix that Xiaoxi mentioned, I didn't take it to heart for the time being. Subsequently, my gaze fell on the 2 blueprint items in my personal space. One was the Constructed Armored Soldier, Black Armor Mech Guard blueprint. I had obtained this a long time ago, but it wasn't a necessity for me at the time. Moreover, once I used talent enhancement, the required materials would inevitably increase, and I wouldn't be able to gather them, so it had been shelved, a useless piece of junk that was a pity to discard. The other was the Heavy Hammer Armored Unit, gold quality, obtained from the Research Institute No. 7 dungeon. Unlike the Black Armor Mech Guard, this blueprint required no materials. Using it would directly summon a member of the Heavy Hammer Guard. A glimmer of anticipation flashed in my eyes. After today passes, I'll see what I can get by putting you 2 together for enhancement. The rest of the night was calm, with no abnormalities. At 5 a.m. the next morning, Lin Shi, Su Kursin, and Su Wanwan walked out of the bedroom on time. Su Kursin immediately rushed to the driver's seat in excitement, leaning over the back of the chair and shaking it. Boss, do you really have a cheat? Where on earth did you get that stellar core fusion reactor? The more I think about it, the more ridiculous it seems. Lin Yu sat to the side, giggling without saying a word. She used to be just like Su Kursin, full of curiosity about the endless stream of magical items in my hands. But after spending so much time together, they had developed a tacit understanding. If I wanted to say something, I would, and if I didn't, they wouldn't ask. I glanced at her and said dismissively, "A gift from a cheat." Su Kursin pouted, clearly not believing it, but she didn't press further. After the group finished a simple breakfast, I sat back in the driver's seat and looked at the churning mist outside. Su Wanwan took the initiative to sit in the passenger seat, while she dragged the still curious Su Kursin and Lin Yu to the domain space to tend to their vegetable patch. The RV fell silent. Su Wanwan browsed the communication channel while watching the black fog outside. I was also monitoring the channel. I could clearly feel that after 4 days of torment by the mist, the mood in the channel had hit rock bottom. Please, someone with a kind heart, give me some supplies. I really can't hold on anymore. I haven't found anything for 3 days straight, and I haven't encountered anything today either. My mailbox is almost empty. Damn it, what is going on at this stage? It's either a life-threatening crisis or it's so safe you can't even see a ghost. I haven't dared to move for 3 days, and my supply reserves are basically empty. I haven't encountered anything today either. Is it the same for you guys? Trading large amounts of food and water for blueprints, special items, quantum primordial matter, and talent fragments. If you have what I need, find me. I'm buying infinitely on the trading channel. Looking for a reliable teammate. I'm about to break down alone. I have plenty of supplies. I just want someone to talk to. Still looking for teammates? Either you're an idiot or you're fishing. Don't believe him, everyone. Is no one paying attention to the big shot at the top of the vehicle leaderboard? His points have gone up by another 100k. Damn, is this guy playing a cracked version of the survival game? Looking at the despair filling the screen, Su Wanwan sighed softly and turned to me. Brother Wu Di, Cici, and I have been using our extra supplies to trade for blueprints and quantum primordial matter these past 2 days, but we haven't gotten much back. Do you think it's necessary to trade for other basic materials? I considered it for a moment and shook my head. Trade for them if you can, but basic materials aren't the priority. I actually wanted to trade for a batch of basic materials too, but the system limited everyone to only 3 trades per day. The 4 of us combined only had 12 trades a day, which wasn't enough to get much. Su Wanwan nodded. Got it, Brother Wu Di. I'll tell Cici later. The RV returned to silence. Time quickly reached 9 in the morning. Commander, a building complex has been detected 1,000 meters ahead. It has been synchronized to the center console screen. Xiaoxi's voice suddenly sounded. Hearing the prompt, Su Wanwan and I immediately looked at the screen. On it, the outline of an entire small town appeared clearly, sitting quietly in the mist. As the RV gradually approached, Xiaoxi automatically stopped the vehicle 10 meters away from the town. Just then, the system interface suddenly popped up 2 prompts. Ding, public area discovered. Qingxi Town, high-level supply crates exist in this area. Brother Wu Di, it's another public area. Su Wanwan looked at me with a hint of anticipation, but my brow furrowed slightly. I stared at the town in the distance for a long time and asked, Su Wanwan, have you noticed anything wrong? Huh. Su Wanwan was stunned for a moment, then looked outside carefully and immediately realized, Brother Wu Di, it's so strange. Why are these buildings covered in black fog? I nodded. That was exactly what I found strange. All the buildings we had encountered before had no mist around them, but Qingxi Town was shrouded in it, with only vague outlines visible. Even the interiors of the buildings were filled with black fog, making it impossible to see what was inside. Commander, you can deploy the Global Stealth Reconnaissance Drone for panoramic mapping. Xiaoxi reminded me at the right moment. I suddenly remembered. Right? I still have the drone. This item had been destroyed in the dungeon and repaired at the Points Hub City, but I hadn't used it since. If Xiaoxi hadn't reminded me, I would have almost forgotten about it. Xiaoxi, deploy the drone. Understood, Commander. As Xiaoxi spoke, The drone bay on top of the RV slowly opened, and a drone flew out silently, diving straight into the black fog ahead. Su Wanwan and I stared intently at the screen, where a green that was slowly moving forward. As the drone went deeper, the map of Qingxi Town was drawn bit by bit and displayed on the vehicle map. Commander, the drone has reached its maximum cruising range of 2,000 meters. Do you need to proceed further to complete the map? Su Wanwan didn't speak, turning to look at me. I looked at the yellow supply crate that had lit up on the map and shook my head. No need. Go to the location of this supply crate first. Understood, Commander. The RV started again, and 10 seconds later, it stopped in front of a 3-story building that looked like a residential apartment. The screen showed that the supply crate was on the 2nd floor. Brother Wu Di, I'll go get the supply crate, Su Wanwan said, standing up immediately. I nodded. Be careful. Xiaoxi hasn't detected any biological signals, so it should be safe. Call me immediately if anything happens. Got it, Su Wanwan replied, opened the door, and walked out, quickly entering the fog-shrouded residential building. I looked directly at the screen, which now showed the entire interior of the building. The hallways were covered in thick dust, and the walls were stained with mottled watermarks. On the screen, Su Wanwan was walking very slowly, vigilantly observing her surroundings, and soon made her way up the stairs to the 2nd floor. She spotted the supply crate at the end of the hallway at a glance, walked over quickly, and stored it in her personal space. But just then, an anomaly occurred. I saw that after Su Wanwan picked up the crate, she didn't turn around to go downstairs, but instead began walking in circles aimlessly in the 2nd floor hallway. I saw on the screen that Su Wanwan had clearly reached the stairwell, but she acted as if she didn't see it at all, walking right past it and continuing to pace back and forth in the hallway. Commander, it is detected that Ms. Su Wanwan is suffering from mental corruption. Shall I activate the Apocalypse Matrix for remote interference? Estimated consumption: 5% of the stellar core fusion reactor's energy. Hearing Xiaoxi's prompt, my mouth twitched. 5% energy for one activation? The newly installed stellar core fusion reactor could only be used 20 times at most? If this happened a few more times, the energy problem I had just solved would become critical again. Besides, Su Wanwan wasn't in any real danger right now. Xiaoxi, is there any other way to save Su Wanwan? Commander, shall I activate the Apocalypse Matrix for deep environmental analysis to provide other solutions? Estimated energy consumption: 5%. I was completely speechless. I had only thought the Apocalypse Matrix was powerful and hadn't considered the energy consumption. I didn't expect it to be this high. Any function activation cost 5% of the energy. Forget it, never mind. Xiaoxi, I'll go down and try. If I get affected too, then you activate the Apocalypse Matrix, I said, standing up. Understood, Commander. Xiaoxi will continue to monitor the vital signs and mental state of you and Ms. Su Wanwan. You may proceed with confidence. I pushed the door open and walked quickly into the building. I followed the route Su Wanwan had taken and ran to the 2nd floor in one breath. As soon as I turned the corner into the hallway, I saw Su Wanwan walking toward me. Brother Wu Di, why are you here? Seeing me, a look of pleasant surprise appeared on her face. I already got the supply crate, and it's a gold supply crate. Looking at her blank expression, I felt a secret chill. She had been walking in circles here for nearly 10 minutes, yet she hadn't felt anything at all. Su Wanwan, don't you feel like something is strange? I asked. Su Wanwan was stunned for a moment, looking at me in confusion. Strange? What's strange? You've been walking in circles here for 10 minutes. Huh. A look of disbelief appeared on her face. No way, Brother Wu Di. I just picked up the supply crate and was about to go downstairs and head back. Seeing that she was completely unaware, I didn't explain further, but stepped forward and grabbed her hand. Don't ask, just come with me. Su Wanwan stiffened at my sudden action, a blush instantly creeping onto her cheeks. She didn't resist and followed me obediently. I pulled Su Wanwan toward the direction of the stairs as I remembered them. But as we walked, I suddenly felt something was wrong and stopped abruptly. I looked back. The stairs were clearly less than 3 meters behind me, but I had acted as if I didn't see them at all and had been walking straight toward the other end of the hallway. Just then, Su Wanwan seemed to wake up suddenly, saying with lingering fear, "Brother Wu Di, it's so strange. The stairs were clearly right there, but I don't think I saw them either. It must be Xiaoxi." I breathed a sigh of relief and pulled her toward the stairs. "Let's go, let's head back." This time, there were no complications. In less than a minute, we successfully walked out of the building and returned to the RV. As soon as the door closed, Xiaoxi's voice rang out. "Commander, it was detected that you were also suffering from mild mental corruption. The Apocalypse Matrix has been automatically activated to clear the interference." "Good job, Xiaoxi." I had realized it must have been Xiaoxi activating the Apocalypse Matrix to clear the corruption. If it weren't for Xiaoxi and the Apocalypse Matrix, the two of us might have been trapped in that building today. Just then, Xiaoxi suddenly prompted, "Commander, it is detected that 2 survivors have entered Qingxi Town. Their positions have been marked on the center console screen. Do you require continuous monitoring?"